And
I was gonna
then
say you
and
have
then
YouTube Studio, right, on your
of
phone?
course, of
Okay,
course.
good. Yeah, because
Let
that's how I
me
always check my videos, just in case.
let me see the live. A new beginnings. Okay, it's up. All right, I'm gonna count 3, 2,
Back.
1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the Brian and Manny podcast, the B&M podcast. I am your host, Brian Betancourt, and I'm here with Mandy Molinado, aka Kingdom Goat,
What's
former world
up?
champion and retired goat. Welcome, my man.
Thank you, thank you. Can't wait
This
to
has been
talk about
a
what's been happening.
this has been a long time coming. Real quick, unfortunately, the
Yeah.
audio that we had for the other stream was not synced. I unfortunately lost the footage because my PlayStation did not read that it went to YouTube, and I lost all that footage that we did when we did our test run. But I got it up and working now. It should be good now. And now we're here. So, why is this episode called The New Beginnings? And by the way, I won't be titling every single podcast. I just want to do it for this episode. Because we've been wanting to do this for years. I've talked to Manny so many times. And Manny's even talked to me myself. We should do a podcast together. And it was one of my dreams because we used to talk in school. Swear to God, and I mean this. Every day at lunch, when it was our lunch break, or sometimes during class, we would just talk straight wrestling, whatever was popular at the time. There were times where during class, when it was during breaks, we would just talk about, oh, did you see last night? Oh, did you see AJ Styles debut? Did you see the Royal Rumble? And we would just talk back and forth of just everything we watched. So at that point, I was like, we have to do a podcast in the future. When I started learning that podcasts exist, I started learning about podcasts in about 2020. 2020 during the pandemic is where I started listening to podcasts a lot because I started getting older. I started getting more wiser with my words and my listening, and I would listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts that it taste my interest. And I still listen to some to this day, actually. I listen to The Undertaker, Dead Man podcast. I think he does a really good job with his co-hosts, getting really good guests and interesting analysis and everything like that. I still listen to some YouTuber podcasts. Vibe is another one that I listen to because BD is a guy that I really respect. Same with Chris Danger and all the other ones as well. Simply Better King. But that's more of a YouTube kind of thing. But they're turning into wrestlers, so it showed things change. But my point is I think podcasting with the right mindset and ideas could be a really cool way to say your opinion. And if you have good opinions, it'd be a good way to express yourself. So this has been a long time coming for me, and I'm super honored and finally able to announce that, yeah, it's happening. This is the first episode of a long, long series of episodes that we're going to do for podcasting. Now, we said it in the beginning, even though the footage was lost, that this podcast is going to be a mixture of wrestling. For now, we might expand into the movie media space in the future, but right now, we're focusing on what we look at every day, and that's wrestling. So, WWE, AEW, NXT, New Japan, Noah, maybe even some Stardom in the future, and other mini shows like maybe GCW and a couple other indie style shows. All of that kind of wrestling is fair game. Fair game as it is. So
Mhm.
you'll hear us talk about Raw. You'll hear us talk about SmackDown. You'll hear us talk about NXT and this show and this show and this show. And we're going to tell you our predictions if it is a pay-per-view. And we will also tell you what we think about the show as a reaction in general. And as you can see here on my screen right here, I do have some matches set up for this review, which is going to be about Netflix. That's what everyone wants to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about. But this is basically how it's going to work. During predictions, me and Manny are going to play the matches out as if we're doing predictions. But we're still going to talk about who we think is going to win, how the story came to be, and we'll kind of bounce off each other. For reactions, we're just going to let this AI do its thing while we talk about what we thought of the night, what we thought of the promos or matches or whatever. So it's a little easier for us to just talk about it. So I just want to break those little rules down so everyone knows when you see a match going on between me and Manny going back and forth, that's just us playing it, just having fun while we talk about the topic at hand. And yes, this
Yeah.
will be going into 25. Yes, I know.
Yes, sir.
They announced it. I know. They announced it a couple days ago. I know. And I'll briefly talk on it when we get to that announcement. We'll talk about it. But yes, 25's on the way. We're gone from 24 after this. Thank God. Thank God. But yeah, so don't worry, the whole simulation thing, that's not going away. That's going to be keep going into 25 and beyond, depending on how far we go. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
And I wanted to also, say my side of that too. That I've known Brian for pretty much almost the entire decade. I mean, ever since middle school, we've been with each other since middle school, and it's rare for any friendship, especially in middle school, to last a very long time. But we've been together still. We've had always ups and downs as friendships has, but I mean, we've been able to conquer that, and you know, show that it's possible for us to still be friends still during this time.
yeah.
And like I said, like Brian was saying about wrestling, we've been talking about wrestling ever since mostly since I went to his class. Again,
Yeah.
yeah. Again, during this time, I mean, we were close because we had the same gym class, but it wasn't until
True. True.
12th grade where we formed a bond that was never going to be broken.
It
To that very
started
day.
off, and I think you can account to this. It started
Yes.
off with physical therapy. They put me in a physical
Mhm.
therapy class with a person that was going to help me with my writing. And funny enough, Manny,
Oh
who
yeah,
was
I
at
was with your
Civic at
writing.
the time, who was the school above us, basically.
Yeah. Three
Basically,
schools in one
oh yeah, it
building,
was three
basically.
schools. Yeah, it was like three
Yeah.
schools in one. I was in Mott Hall, he was in Civic before they combined. But my point is basically is, yeah, ever since that physical therapy meeting when we met each other, there were some conversations, what's your name, where you live, like basic stuff. But then when he said the word wrestling, and this is when I was slowly starting to get into it, I was like, oh, we might have something here. So
Yeah.
we might have something here. And then from that moment on, when he talked about his first wrestling thing, from there, the rest was history. We talked about every pay-per-view, every WWE, every signing, everything, everything
The
wrestling.
rest was history. Let's
Generally,
just
the
say
rest is
that.
history. And we still, hell, even when this podcast is not
Yeah.
going on and we're on the phone, we're still talking about wrestling to this day. When there's a new
Yeah.
signing, breaking news, anything, we are on top of it. We talk about it as much as we can because we love this
Yep.
business. We love what
Yeah.
wrestling is today.
We
Like,
we we've been I've been a wrestling fan ever since I was 10 to 9 years old.
yes.
Ever since I lived in Jersey at the time before I
Mm,
came to the Bronx,
yeah.
and I just loved every part of it of wrestling. Of course, years later, of course, some things as a kid, was funny and
Oh
great
yeah.
and
Oh
entertaining
yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
dramatic. But as you get older, you get to know a lot more about the business and how it has shaped
Yeah.
into.
Yeah,
And
no.
yeah,
100%. Learning these terms of work, shoot, this is scripted, this is not scripted, has
yeah,
been a bit of an interesting path. Learning those terms and
hmm
learning, about contract extensions. This guy signed this amount of money for this amount of years, kind of like in sports, has been an interesting transition for me in wrestling because I used to know it as everything is real. That's why I always took it. I was like,
yes,
everything's real. But when I got into the later years and started learning about New Japan and indie shows and stuff like that, and I heard about contracts, the word contracts, at that point I was like, okay, there's probably something that I don't know. So I
yeah,
basically went on a binge watching of both YouTube and articles and everything to learn a little bit about the backstage side, about producers and the words like contract extension, a contract
yeah,
expiring, this person wants out, a bunch of stuff backstage, and it kind of made my knowledge a little more easier about wrestling and understanding the ins and outs instead of being a fan at heart. Even though, yes, I am
yeah,
still a fan at heart. I still react
yes,
as a fan at heart, even though if I know what's going on, I'm still gonna give it my best reaction.
Even if there were times where it was struggling and it was hard to
Yes.
watch a show, which there has been numerous of times where it was hard to watch certain
Dude,
shows, and
dude,
especially during difficult times.
great example, 2018 Raw WWE. Oh my
Oh,
God. Oh, that was
it was devastating,
rough.
and
Oh
I
my
think
God.
mostly that's where
Oh,
where you told
shit.
me where you showed me the Japan side and the independent circuit was
Yes.
rising up, and that's when
Yeah.
in my personal opinion, I fell back in love with wrestling, because at the end of the day, this is a business. At the end of
This
the
is
day,
a business. Yeah.
this is like any other sports and fighting corporation, because this
Mm-hmm.
is a business at the end of the day.
100%.
There could be some
Yeah.
entertaining parts,
Oh
but
yeah.
in a way, there is still realism added into this business that
Telling
people
you.
forget.
Telling you. 2018, 2017 NXT was where I found my love for wrestling. Guys like,
And especially that time and that era.
yes, Adam Cole, Andrade, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Aleister Black, Hideo Itami, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens. Those kind of guys got me to be like, hey, it's okay to not watch Monday Night Raw and SmackDown every day. It's okay to watch something different. It's okay to watch an alternative or something different. And that's why I got the love and respect for guys like Adam Cole, Malachi,
Yeah,
Johnny, Champa, Kenta, aka Hideo Itami, Finn Balor. That's why I have respect for these guys. Shinsuke's another one. Joe's another one. So I
yeah,
respect those guys because they
yeah.
went through the WWE filter, and even though the main roster did not work for some, the NXT runs that they had, I will never forget them.
Remarkable. And the
We'll
other
never
thing
forget.
also, yeah, and the other thing also is that you never know if a WWE superstar is going to leave WWE to go to these
These
other
other
shows and
companies.
companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another example was Johnny Mundo, aka John Morrison,
Yeah.
who I was a
Morrison.
big fan of,
Mm.
especially
Yeah,
during the
Morrison.
time with him and
Yeah.
R-Truth, and reading about his career when he was ECW World Champion and everything
Him and the
in the
Miz.
early days.
Dirty
Yep, and
Talks.
even yep,
Yeah.
the dirt sheets
Dirt
in those
sheets.
days.
Dirt sheets. Yeah.
I always thought, as a former low-minded person on the business, that
Mm.
WWE is always the place to be, but it's not.
No, it's not. No.
Sometimes you get treated with respect, and sometimes you're gonna have to earn that respect.
You gotta earn it. Yeah.
Sometimes your favorite superstars are gonna be liked. Sometimes they're not gonna be favored.
It's crazy too because John did go back eventually to
Yeah,
WWE, and that run, except for the stuff at the Miz in the beginning, and maybe the
yeah,
Bad Bunny stuff. The Bad Bunny stuff was good, but really, other than
yes,
that, they did really nothing with him, and I felt so bad
yeah,
because they signed him to like a 5-year extension, and he still said nope, I want out. So he went back to the
yeah,
Indies and became the original John Morrison that we know. And while
yeah,
unfortunately right now Johnny TV's not doing anything interesting, at least he seems like he's in a better place. It seems like he's
yeah,
more happy. Like he's with his
yeah,
wife, Ty Valkyrie, who's doing Vendetta with Tiana right now. So even if he's not doing anything of importance, he can at least be a little more happier because he has his wife with him. They go to work together. They even have their own little gimmick on ROH, and he has some
yeah.
funny stuff with Mansoor and Mace Mace.
Yes, yes.
So
And to fully say whatever else before we go into the rest of this week to start this official podcast. Um, it's been just so long since you know I thought we were never gonna do this,
no,
but now,
no, no.
and especially with the podcast thing, it wasn't until the pandemic era where podcasts were starting to become popular, and everybody had a voice now to
Yes.
mean something,
Mhm.
and I think that we want our voices to be heard. We want our voices to mean something, especially to the wrestling business and everything. Because at the end of the day,
100%.
without the fans, there is no wrestling business.
There is no wrestling.
Without
Absolutely.
any supporters, there is no other sports like basketball, football, and all the other things,
Yeah.
all the other sports in the world.
100%.
And what this podcast is going to be about is talking about not just wrestling, but the breaking news, the drama, if we have to go there. Hopefully not.
Let's
But
hope not. Let's hope
yeah,
not.
let's hope not. But but the drama, the craziness, and what we love, what we believed are the greatest moments of wrestling, what the greatest matches of all time in wrestling is, and to discuss what possible futures these wrestlers could be heading into, going into not only this new year, but in the future to come.
Yeah, 100%. And to add to that point,
Hmm.
we'll also be doing breaking news. So if there's any people leaving or contract extensions or anything like that, we'll try to be on top of it as quick as possible. We'll hop on and we'll do a quick conversation about it. I know right now it's funny. It's funny I bring up contracts. I believe New Japan is interested in Baron Corbin, who got released by WWE this year. Very interesting. Um,
Oh boy.
because Baron Corbin, aka Tom, is his real name, um, is a guy that I
Oh
really
yeah, I forgot his name
respected
is Tom.
in NXT. The Lone Wolf, I thought was a badass fucking gimmick. They just unfortunately didn't book
That
him
was the
right.
only gimmick that was successful, and the fact that he was I watched the podcast with I think it was with Chris Van Vliet, right?
I believe it was Chris Van Vliet, yeah.
Yes. No, I mean the man had gave no excuses
No,
even though he's
no.
been treated poorly, for many years in WWE. Again, not his fault, but the writers' faults for not seeing the potential that he could have been. But
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
the man just took it on the
He
chin,
did,
and
he did.
you know respected where he worked, and showed what he had. But eventually he knew it was time to move on, or they let him go, and it's time for, I believe, Tom, or a new Baron Corbin to rise.
To
What will it
rise.
be? I don't know.
I don't know.
But he's a hell of a wrestler, hell of a worker,
Oh no.
and I
Oh,
wish him nothing but
100%.
the best if he does go
No, I
and
really
continue
do. I
wrestling.
wish him nothing but the best. I really respect that a guy like Shawn Michaels took a chance on him and said, "Hey, come back to NXT, rebuild yourself, and maybe we can get you back to the main roster in the future." And at the
Yes.
time, it fucking worked. He didn't win the NXT title or anything, but the classic matches he had with guys like Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker,
He won the
and
tag
teaming, and
belts,
he did
though.
win the tag titles. He did win the tag titles. The Wolf Dogs, really fun tag team.
Oh, I love
They
him.
were hilarious, but a really fun run.
I
But
wish
that
they
run
still
alone
stayed
kind of
together.
gave Corbin stock a lot because he got drafted
Yeah.
the next year. He got drafted, so it showed NXT, and we will definitely talk about NXT going
Yeah.
forward. Absolutely,
On a
that
future
brand,
episode, for
that
sure. Or
brand,
probably one of these next episodes.
yeah, the brand is on fire, and we will break
Yeah.
down why NXT is doing so good because, dude, they're
Yeah.
on fire right now.
They're,
But
they're back to their glory days. They're back to
absolutely, it's a
their,
hybrid
their
of,
future version
yeah,
of the black and gold brand.
it's literally a hybrid of Black and Gold. You have the great wrestling from Black and Gold, but then you have like the funny gimmicks, and then you have the I hate to say
The
this,
serious
but
gimmicks.
the serious gimmicks. When then you also have like the sex appeal, which I mean, beautiful women is what I'm trying to get at,
Yeah.
because
Oh my
Cause
God.
Michaels knows what he's doing. And
Yeah.
regardless, but yeah. So to finish up on Corbin, yeah, that's a dude that will definitely be keeping an eye on if he is going to New Japan, if he's going to TNA, wherever he goes. I'm very intrigued what kind of version of Corbin we're going to get. Because right now he's at home, obviously serving his 90 days. But once his
Yes.
90 days are up, he can go anywhere he wants. He can go wherever the hell he wants. He can go Japan. He can go stay in the U.S. He can go to different places, MLW. There's so many options for him. I'm very intrigued to see what big company is going to offer and be like, hey, a guy like Baron Corbin, who I think he's in like his early 30s, guy like that,
Yeah.
hey, bring him in. Dude's still in great shape. Hey, let's see what we could do with him. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting year. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of an overview of what the plan is for this podcast.
Yeah.
N-
And you never know. My fault, Brian. But you
yeah.
never know. There could be special guests along this show too, if we can.
Oh yeah, we're probably gonna have some cool people on here chatting about wrestling as well. There's some good friends that are very interested that have already DM'd me saying, "Hey, I want to be on it," and I was like, "Hey, never say never. Just we'll set up the date and we'll We'll bring in special guests for maybe pay-per-views or a show. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun. And I'm really looking forward to starting when we do guests. I'm looking forward to it. But with that being said, let's get to the task at hand. So,
Let's do
the
it.
moment you guys have been waiting for, our first reaction to WWE's biggest show all week long, Raw on fucking Netflix. Yeah, times have changed. For any old heads that are here, Raw is on Netflix now. If obviously you probably know, even though I don't have to explain myself, but I will anyway. Netflix is one of the biggest streaming platforms in all of the world. They have some of the coolest shows in the world. They're really rebounding right now. They have the most popular show in the world, Squid Games, which is ranked number 2 on Netflix's watch list when it comes to people watching. Like, there are people that watch that show religiously. Oh, and I'm one of them. So, fair enough. But, actually, funny enough, they did reveal, actually, Raw took over the number 1 spot on Netflix's most watched shows as the first show. So, it shows that people are interested in wrestling on Netflix. So, this was going to be a really fun show. They were going to stack it with legends. They were going to go crazy with it. And they did. They basically stacked the show with both legends and really good matches. So, and as the final boss says, and we will get to him in a second, enjoy the ride. Let's do this.
Enjoy the ride we're gonna take you on.
So, starting off, funny enough, with actually a introduction they posted on YouTube hours ago. They replayed it with a kind of a curtain hiding the ring. Really cool setup. By the way, they were in Los Angeles, California, the Intuit Dome, one of the most new basketball arenas in all of sports. It is the most unique, futuristic arena in all of sports. It's a sight to behold.
Oh, yeah,
it was a beautiful stadium.
And I hope that it replaces was it the Staples Center? It's just been so long.
Crypto, I think it is, but I call it the Staples Center.
It's Crypto. I always will call it the Staples Center either way.
Always call it Staples Center because big Lakers fan over here. But
I hope that this is the newer version of the Staples Center, and it lives up to its reputation going to the future.
Well, remember, and we'll go a little basketball factoid because why not? The Clippers and the Lakers always shared a stadium, and what was that stadium? Staples Center, of course, because the Clippers didn't really have an arena to go to. Now they have their own identity. They have the Intuit Dome. They play games there. They do other events. So now the Clippers can kind of be on their own little island with their really, really, really fancy arena. But it was a really cool arena for Raw. They used a ton of screens. They're using lighting. It was pretty cool, I can't lie. But back to what was going on. So they had a curtain in the middle. They played an epic package that was made by WWE Production. They do so well on those hype packages. It's ridiculous. They deserve a raise. And they did an epic package. They put it on YouTube. They showed it at the show. And then when the curtains lifted up, all you see in the middle of the ring is the man who's running the show, Triple H, right in the middle of the ring, and places going bananas.
That was cool.
Yeah, he basically, real simple, short, basically hyping up all of us, saying, "Are we ready?" And then as he finishes, "Welcome to Monday Night Raw," pyro hits, boom, right on the spot. And then you see the beautiful new stage, new ring setup, new canvas, new announce table. Barricades are a little different. They basically changed the whole Raw setting from the original one. Like, it is all new. It's a new fresh start, new logo, new fresh start for WWE, and it looked amazing. It was a cool visual. And they even showed off the new announce table, which that thing is that was a hard as hell announce table, because damn, that thing is hard. But literally, like, that thing is not moving. Like, every time someone would get slammed on it, didn't break. Even Roman got slammed on it, it didn't break. It shows you how they actually made a table that was unbreakable. Crazy. Would have never thought it'd be possible, but nope, they did it. But yeah, so
Yep.
obviously, commentary for the team was Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, the original duo from SmackDown way back when Pat was full time. I believe Pat is going to be full time going forward. I know he does football, so they might sub that in, but again, we'll have to wait and see. But for right now, since football season is wrapping up, he is full time. He's full time. Him and Cole reunite on Netflix, and it was actually announced on Raw itself. It's going to be Joe Tessitore and actually Wade Barrett. So Wade Barrett will keep his commentary job with Joe. That means Corey Graves is going to NXT. Kind of crazy. I didn't expect that, but I understand why
Yeah.
you keep the duo Joe and Wade because they work so well together. I
Pretty
kind of
well.
get why you keep it, even though Corey Graves is the NXT original. So I understand why putting him on NXT makes sense. Now, this doesn't mean I don't think he's losing his pay-per-view job. I don't think that's happening. I think
No.
Cole and him, I think, are still going to do pay-per-views, if I remember correctly. Which is good, because Cole and Graves
Yeah.
on pay-per-view is like the best duo. And then you include Pat here and there. I think he might do the Rumble. So that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think that there was words about him maybe doing the Rumble
It
in
is in
general.
his home team, Indianapolis,
Hometown, yeah.
for the Colts. So it would make a ton of sense to have him there. But regardless, yeah. So your commentary was Michael Cole and Pat McAfee for the whole night. There was no switch up whole night. Obviously, backstage you had Jackie Redmond on the suite, and then you also had Kathy Kelly down backstage doing interviews with all types of wrestlers. So, and a
Yep.
couple
And,
celebrities.
yep, and they just released the poster for the next Saturday Night main event, and Jay Uso is on the cover.
Yes, I just seen that. Yes, another Saturday Night's main event in December. They did a Saturday Night's main event, the Return to Form, with a bunch of legends, a bunch of old school matches. It was a cool event. They're gonna do one in San
Yes.
Antonio this month, so we'll see what happens there. So now that we got that out the way, let's talk about how this show started. So lights go down. You hear a very weird kind of sound. And then the Rock's music hit. Yes, the final boss, who announced, I believe, Sunday night that he will be at Raw Netflix. He was in the
Yep.
flesh. He had his Versace jacket, new glasses, People's Championship, and looked like the final boss walking into the arena. The aura that he brings around him gave me goosebumps. It was really cool stuff. He came out there, a very different kind of demeanor. He definitely I even hugged Cody Rhodes near the barricade. So he was definitely more corporate Rock, where he was a little more nicer. He wasn't evil Final Boss Rock, which was a little weird at first. But I understand why. I mean, it's Netflix. Like it's for the more casual kind of people to start us off. So fair enough. But he cut like basically a promo talking about how big it is with Netflix, and he was cracking jokes, and it was really good stuff. And he also the main thing that I took away from it was the words of I will be watching the tribal combat match. At that point, I was like, that's interesting. That was the point that I took away. That I was like, ooh, he's definitely gonna be watching this match. This is gonna be something. So then he does that, and then before he basically leaves and finishes off with, the classic "If You Smell," of course. Um,
Hmm.
Basically shouts out Los Angeles because that's where his kind of career started, and just gave a lot of shout outs to LA. Just gave a ton of love to LA, and everything. So, but yeah, shout out to The Rock. Again, it was a really, really good promo. Kind of a welcome promo before we head into our first match. But in general, it was really cool to see The Rock there in the flesh. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was a cool moment to have The Rock there, electrifying us. Because again, we don't know how long we're gonna have The Rock, so gotta use it well.
Sorry, the phone tripping. Lately.
As the movie theater says, turn off your phones. Sorry, I
Actually,
had to
yeah.
do
You
it.
know what? Maybe I should do that. Yeah. But yeah, no. Yeah, no. We started really good, very smooth. very dope introduction to to Triple H, then to The Rock.
Final
You know,
boss.
yep. Saying that with the crowd that we got a good crowd tonight. We're gonna see who's the tribal chief, which is definitely interesting that he's been quiet about this subject, but there could
He
be
has
something really
been.
interesting with
Yes.
this thing. Now he could be. Now a lot of people could be quiet for the right reasons and then for the wrong reasons.
True. True. That is
But
100% true.
we'll see what happens with this.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with this. We'll see where The Rock kind of lands in this, going forward, as we're going to talk about the first match in a second. Yeah, it's going to be
Yep.
interesting, cause especially since The Rock was kind of giving his love. He did address on NXT, I could at least say this. He did address him and Cody are obviously not buddy-buddy, but he was just being very nice to Cody, respecting Cody. Because if you take into all account, even with the slow start to his reign, Cody did have a killer 2024. Like he in the back half at least. That him and Cody was working his tail off. He did all the live events. He did pay-per-views. He did SmackDowns. He even did some Raws. Like Cody was all over the place in 2024. So
Oh
he was
yeah.
definitely one of the
Very.
MVPs for WWE. I 100% agree. He wasn't the MVP for me, but I could see why people say he was the MVP because he did do a lot in 2024. So I understand The Rock giving him his respect, and he even made a joke about Mama Rose, which was hilarious. So Mama Rhodes. But
Mama
yeah,
Rose.
Mama Rhodes. But yeah, so yeah, this is a really cool promo from Rock. Very more face Rock, because again, it was a big crowd. But again, in NXT, he addressed him and Cody. They're not done by any means. So
No.
we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. And we'll see if his schedule lines up.
That's the key, because the rumor right now, and again, I'll just say it's a rumor, because again, things could change. It's happened before. The reason he can't make Mania is because he's doing the live action Moana right now, and he has to do reshoots for it. That's the rumor going around, is why Rock can't get to Mania in Vegas. That's his supposed rumor. Again, like I said, things could change and scheduling can go left and things could change. But that's the reasoning why WWE is anticipating that Rock might not be at Mania, because he has to do reshoots for one of his movies, as
Oh yeah.
expected, because The Rock, the multi-millionaire. I mean, come on now.
Oh sure. Yeah, no, he's one of the biggest, actors with the most money right now.
Hmm.
That, despite, to be honest, I feel that his last few projects have been a little weak lately.
Fair. Fair.
Except for Moana. Moana was at least solid enough for me, in my opinion.
Fair.
But yeah, no, I mean that's not what we're talking about. But at the end of the day, The Rock will always come back home. He will always support his
Always.
family.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see what happens. And yeah, he's here as one of the main leaders for WWE now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, let's get to our actual first encounter. And they started off the night real strong. Like, really strong. And that is, at the time, the tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, versus the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns, with Paul Heyman at his side, in tribal combat. Now, what does tribal combat mean? 'Cause a lot of people don't know what that means. Tribal combat is a battle between two leaders fighting to win a prestigious prize to lead all of WWE and be known as the tribal chief. That's
Oh
why we
yes.
do tribal combat. The last tribal combat, Jey Uso versus Roman, SummerSlam. So, but that was for actually the title. Actually, it wasn't even for the Ulafala. That was for the title. This time, this means much more. This is for the Ulafala. Now, what is the Ulafala? The Ulafala means you are the tribal chief of your family. The Ulafala was given to Roman Reigns in 2020 by his father, Sika. after winning against Jey Uso in Hell in a Cell. It was handed to him, and from that point forward, we always acknowledge our tribal chief. Even if he got booed, we still acknowledge him because he had the Ulafala. But then, at WrestleMania, he lost everything. World title, Ulafala, and his family. He lost a lot. He lost a lot. But Roman didn't give up. Roman came back at SummerSlam, screwed Solo Sikoa, helped Cody retain the world title,
Yep.
and basically sent Solo into a bit of rage. Solo still had the Ulafala, of course, but Roman was on the hunt for the Ulafala. The difference was he basically was a little bit more of a respectable tribal chief, because the problem that a lot of wrestlers had when they were with Roman, i.e. Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, his ego with the power got to him. That power was overpowering him, and he couldn't be a normal person. They always saw him as obviously the tribal chief, but you couldn't control him. You couldn't control him. You couldn't control him. He went way too powerful, and that's why Sami left him, and that's why Jey Uso left, even if it had to be expense at his brother, unfortunately.
Yep.
But these days, things have changed. The OTC, Roman Reigns, walking into this match, had everything. Even though he lost to Saudi Arabia after the reunion with Jey Uso, Yeet Man, and No Yeet Jimmy Uso, and Sami Zayn, even after that loss, they still rebounded. They rebounded. They went to War Games. They got the whole group together. They even got CM goddamn Punk, which will be in our main event. But he got goddamn Punk to team up with him thanks to the wise man returning, Paul Heyman. And they won War Games. They beat Solo's group of Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tungaloa at the time, before Tungaloa got hurt. Then War Games passes. Oh, they also had Bronson Reed. But War Games passes, and Roman is looking really good. And then on a fateful night, on SmackDown, on a fateful night, he challenges Solo Sikoa to a tribal combat for the Ulafala.
Yep.
And Solo obviously accepts.
Yeah. After months and months of, them getting win after win, Solo gained the first win at, Crown Jewel.
Yes.
And Roman Reigns defeating them in War Games. Now it was time to end it all. To tiebreaker. Who was the real tribal chief? Who is the real tribal chief to lead the family and be the head of it?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yeah. Roman was trying to win his kind of almost child back in the Ulafala. He cared so much about that Ulafala and lost it. Actually, didn't even lose it. Just stole it. Stolen by Solo. And Roman had enough. He had to get that Ulafala back to be back in control. So, what does he do? He challenges him to tribal combat. January 6th on Netflix. Solo accepts. And now, here we are, basically. So the score is even 1-1. And again, in tribal combat, no rules. Everything is fair game. Chairs, tables, ladders, everything is fair game. It's basically a street fight, basically. But the winner will have to not only acknowledge the person who won, but Mr. Paul Heyman, also we thought at the time, Solo asked Paul Heyman on Friday before the first 3 hours SmackDown, on a great promo, asks, can you hold on to the Ulafala, and can you put it over the winner's neck? Also, we thought before something happened in the end that changed everything. But at the time, it was going to be Heyman putting either the Ulafala on Roman or Solo, depending on who won. So that's kind of the backstory and the lead up to the tribal combat. Now the question is, this is a reaction. How was the match? The shit was amazing. You want a short answer? Epic cinematography, bro. If you take Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns' WrestleMania bonanza and just add to that, that's literally how it felt.
Yeah.
It was Cody Rhodes versus Roman part 2, but it slapped. It was great. It didn't feel overused. It felt right. And the interferences they had were basically spot on. Like, it probably would have been the perfect order I probably would have done, even though I didn't expect a certain name, and I'll talk about that. So in the beginning, it was basically basically a little slow pace, kind of a slow burn. They had Solo going after Roman, and Roman was going after Solo. But
Yep.
halfway through the match, things start to pick up. Roman hits his first Superman punch, and then basically, a member of Solo's bloodline comes out. Who comes out first? Tama Tonga comes out, of course. The son of Haku comes out. Former IWGP Never Openweight champion and tag team champion comes out, and he basically distracts Roman. And while that distraction's happening, easily one of my favorite guys, and I would say the 2024 breakout star for me, Jacob Fatu, also in Solo's bloodline. He comes out,
Yeah.
super kicks Roman, hits a nasty looking moonsault on Roman. Solo hits the spike, but guess what? The OTC's not done. He kicks out. Everyone's like, what the hell? He just kicked out of a moonsault and a spike. Holy shit. What the fuck? Yeah, crazy kick out.
Yep.
Then,
Crazy.
then Roman's cavalry gets involved. Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, they come out. No Yeet and Sami Uso come out. The honorary Us. They come out and they clear house. They take out Tama, they take out Jacob Fatu. They're finally out of the equation. Now we're back to a stalemate. Or so we thought, because out of fucking nowhere, as Roman's ready to line up a spear, Kevin Owens comes out. Yeah, Kevin Owens. I thought it was going to be Drew McIntyre or maybe Seth or something like that. No, Kevin Owens. The man who's basically been hating on anything Cody related. He basically says, no taken prisoners. He stunners Roman. Solo comes in, covers him, and Roman still kicks out.
And you know the reason why Kevin Owens stunned Roman. Like, some people may know, some people may not know. But for the people that don't know, him and Roman Reigns have been feuding for years and years since the pandemic era. And
Yes.
Roman Reigns made Kevin Owens' life a living hell. So Kevin Owens, of course, does not forgive and does not forget.
No.
He was trying to make sure that Roman did not walk out with the Ula Fala, and that he was no longer the tribal chief.
And on top of that, this is where the Cody and Kevin Owens relationship comes in. And obviously, I'll talk more about this when we get to the Royal Rumble predictions. But specifically, Cody Rhodes teamed up with Roman Reigns at Bad Blood, and that left a very sour taste in Kevin Owens' mouth because of all the fighting they were doing previously, helping Cody beat the Bloodline simultaneously. So I kind of understand where Kevin's coming from and feeling a certain way. Yeah, that's I understand where KO's coming from. So the reaction is absolutely fair. So then as that's happening, obviously after basically leaving the front row, basically pulling a John Cena Undertaker, leaving from the seats, Cody Rhodes does his entrance and Cody Rhodes clears Kevin Owens. He hits a Cody Cutter and both men go craning into the crowd as they continue to brawl. As they continue to brawl, finally, no more interferences. It's now Solo. It's Roman Reigns, winner for the Ula Fala. And there were times where Solo hit a ton of moves and just could not finish Roman. But then Solo goes for one more little spike. Roman counters it, hits a beautiful spear, but then he lines up for the last one. The one that's going to finish it all.
Oh, yeah.
He hits the biggest spear on Solo. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns re-wins the Ula Fala and is now the only tribal chief. There's no more double tribal chief. Roman is the definitive tribal chief. He's the one that leads the family, feeds the family, and has now got his control back. So, what does this mean for Solo? Well, Solo said it himself. At some point, Roman Reigns is going to make Solo acknowledge him as a tribal chief. Solo has no more control, no more power. because he lost to Ulafala clean to Roman Reigns. And now Roman Reigns can breathe a sigh of relief just for a little bit and now carry the Ulafala once again. But the story gets crazier. As Paul Heyman is about to put it back on Roman Reigns' neck, out comes the final boss. Yes, Roman's cousin, The Rock. He comes out and...
The High Chief now.
The High Chief, yeah. Can't forget. High Chief, which is the highest honor you can get in the Samoan family. Comes out and walks those steps. Gives Roman that look. Hands the Ulafala from Heyman, says, "May I?" Heyman kisses it, hands it to Rock. Rock looks at Roman and says, "I'm about to give you the Ulafala. You've earned this." So he puts it on his neck, and then we get a stare down between Roman and Rock. Rock even takes off his glasses to give Roman that ultimate respect look. No glasses needed. And then he does something incredible. He gives him the classic handshake from the press conference. You know that handshake that started the mana, the relationship, the one that started this Cody Rhodes Rock story with Roman. The handshake. Basically the one that holds fists together and then a hug. And then Roman, as we always do, we put the ones in the sky. We put the goddamn ones in the sky.
We acknowledge Roman
Reigns. And you might have called me dumb, but I didn't even pick Roman to win this. I had Solo winning this. But am I one that is going to not acknowledge the Tribal Chief? No, because I've acknowledged Roman for so long at this point. So of course I'm gonna acknowledge Roman Reigns as a win. I mean, come on now. That's blasphemy if I don't do that. So obviously I acknowledged Roman as my Tribal Chief officially, and will never acknowledge Solo as the Tribal Chief ever again. Because now Roman has the thing that makes him the Tribal Chief, the Ulafala. Man, that tribal combat was so much fun. That is how you start off a new era. Raw started off on fire. Good job, WWE.
Yep.
Good job, WWE.
Yeah, shout out to this story, man, because this is still a continuing story, but this is again still the reason why this is one of the greatest WWE stories in this modern era, in my opinion.
Oh, and get this. This match was planned for Vegas, actually. This was going to be on Vegas's card for WrestleMania, because WrestleMania's in Vegas this year. But they moved it to Netflix instead.
Yeah.
Very interesting call. But I think it's the right call. Because you want a big match on that platform, you give us that match. And we saw Roman wrestle. Couldn't ask for any better. Generally. So.
Yeah, for sure. And you gotta admit, though, it's still uncertain, and it's also so curious to see who will be, what will Solo's first reaction be?
Oh yeah.
After this loss.
Oh yeah. That is a good question.
And will he acknowledge Roman Reigns, or will his team betray him?
That's right.
Will Jacob Fatu and God, aka Tamatanga 2, betray him? That is the question now that could be answered on SmackDown or could be answered soon. Because we don't know who's gonna get a break. We know that Roman is probably coming back to Raw on the 27th.
Oh yeah.
But what about Solo? That'll be a question for us Friday.
That is gonna be an interesting question, and yeah, as I said before, SmackDown's 3 hours now, boys. Y'all, I know y'all used to the 2-hour SmackDown, but I think 3 hours now. So we'll see what they have planned for Solo's bloodline on Friday. Oh, and I almost forgot because again, we didn't talk about SmackDown at all because we wanted to save it. Congratulations to Tiffany Stratton. She'll be having her championship celebration Friday. So
Yes, yes. Congratulations to her. Well deserved. And
well,
you
well,
know,
fucking deserve.
it's going to
Absolutely.
be interesting to see what the story with her and Nia Jax will be at. Going into WrestleMania this season.
Yeah, seriously. Because Tiffy has been with Nia since the get-go. Ever since Tiffy got on the main roster and Nia returned, they were buddy
Yes.
buddy. But then they got Candice, who kind of broke kind of this bond between these two, and Nia was focusing more on Candice. And then when Tiffany finally pulled the trigger and turned on the whole group, and now she's champion,
Yeah.
in the end, it worked
But
out.
yeah, and plus though, this was a justified reason
Oh
because
no, 100%.
Nia Jax betrayed Tiffany. She abandoned her in a way. She didn't
Yeah.
acknowledge her. But now that that she has the WWE Women's Championship, now Nia Jax will have no choice but to acknowledge what Tiffany did.
Yeah, no, I understand, especially because the way Nia was almost kind of gesturing to Candace's ideas more than Tiffy.
Yeah,
Tiffy felt kind of jealous, like, hey, we together first. Why are you messing with her when you still have me? So at that point, Tiffy's like, it's time, gotta pull the trigger, and she did. She pulled the trigger. She basically faked all of us at first because she basically didn't do it at first. She helped Nia retain and not let Naomi win, which was a great match. And then Tiffy did the cash in. And they were like, okay, there we go. So now Tiffy on SmackDown will be walking in as the SmackDown Women's Champion. Congrats to Tiffany Stratton. But now, on to the next thing. So before we got to my GOAT speaking on the mic, there was a little promo from New Day up in the, like, almost
yeah.
suite. They had a conversation with Jackie Redmond. And they were basically talking about why are they still booing us, basically after turning on Big E, and why are they not getting respected, and basically everyone's basically told the New Day, you turn on Big E, you broke everyone's heart, that's why you lost the respect of the locker room, which is a valid reason. But the New Day believe they didn't do nothing wrong, but I also see the New Day's perspective because Big E kind of abandoned him, but again, it's not Big E's fault, so it's such a twist. It's like, yeah, I get where they're coming from, but Big E had a goddamn neck injury. Dude got dropped on his neck. You don't know if a dude's gonna ever come back from a neck injury. I mean, some have done some impressive returns from neck injury fusion surgery, but again, it's a 50-50 toss up. Like, you never know. Like, it's neck injuries is. It's a tough one to swallow. It's a tough one to swallow because sometimes it can be not as bad, and they come back in 6 months, or it could be one where their career is basically over, and that's the scary one. So I get where the New Day are coming from, but I still gotta remind
Yeah.
myself, hey, E had a neck injury that there's no way you're
Yeah.
healing
It,
from.
it was damaging, that's a career-ending injury,
Oh
How
yeah,
dare you? And, the fact that, I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes,
no.
but, do I blame the New Day? No. But at the same time, it's like you didn't have to tear the man down like that.
The way they did it was the one that was like the emotional pull of like,
Yeah. It was a
damn,
more of an emotional
damn.
pull than, it was, you know, physical.
Yeah.
But let's be honest though. What would have if they did, beat Biggie? Would they have been getting the same reaction, or would they be getting a different reaction? Because
That
they asked that too long ago.
They did ask that. They did ask that. Basically. So that is a good question. That is a good question. But yeah, basically New Day have turned a new light. They're back to heels, but this time no Biggie. They're kind of just Kofi and Xavier. They're not even New Day
Yep.
anymore. They haven't wrestled yet. They've done a few house shows, but they have not wrestled
Yeah.
officially on Raw yet. That they've been doing promos and backstage work, building that
Yeah.
that character, building those stories up. So it's been a nice
Yeah.
progression. But they are here on
Yeah.
the Netflix premiere, of course, because they're Monday Night Raw superstars. So they were there, um, and then just a bunch of banter going back and forth. And then for some reason, Xavier Woods disses Kendrick.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what?
Wow.
When I heard that, I was like, uh, uh, Xavier, I know you're trying to get heat, but you know you're in LA, right? You know Compton's not too far away, right?
Yeah.
You need to be careful,
Yeah.
cause
Be careful.
woo, be careful. You get Kendrick fans riled up, you get Kendrick stans riled up. Oh no, bro, that's a bad call, especially after how successful Kendrick's been. Woo! Be careful. Be fucking careful. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah.
say. Woo! Be
Yeah.
careful. Um, but
Cause you in dangerous territory right now, and who's gonna save you? No.
yeah, like fucking hell, man. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that was quite something. So yeah, and then they also showed a bunch of superstars. They had like a special Netflix suite where they had a bunch of wrestlers, Dragon Lee, Isla Dawn, ton of other wrestlers kind of there, just enjoying, just having a good time, partying, while the New Day
Yeah.
just sitting in the corner with their drinks, just kind of not enjoying it at all. They looked almost annoyed, which was
Nah, I gotta
funny.
admit, they were so hilarious.
They're just sitting there, just like sipping away. But they have like no contact. Even Dragon Lee went up to him and said, "Get away!" Like it was. Oh God, Heel New Day is something else.
Yeah. No, it
Um,
is.
it is
They've
something
really
else.
grown to the part,
It
and
really.
even more, with their more, vicious side. I think, in more opinion, more
We
disrespectful than I
yeah
would say their first
yeah we
heel
haven't
run.
even seen them in the ring yet. Like we've been waiting for their Raw re-debut against a tag team. It hasn't happened yet, but the amount of storytelling they're telling right now is great. So it's like I'm not mad that they're not in the ring yet because the storytelling they're doing is excellent. So yeah, I'll definitely be excited for their in-ring debut, 100%. This heel in-ring debut for the New Day. Anyway, so now let's get to my goat, our goat. Let's get to Cena. Yes,
Okay.
for any old heads here that have not been in the loop, John Cena is doing one more last retirement tour, full 365 days in a calendar year. He will be going around the world. He'll be doing one last Royal Rumble, one last WrestleMania, one last Chamber, one last Money in the Bank, one last SummerSlam, one last Survivor Series. All the big shows. He'll probably even go to like Backlash in Mexico because they're going to Mexico this year, and they're also going to be doing some other like German shows and stuff like that because they love going.
Yeah.
They love. That's the best part about WWE. They've been going around the world, being with these rowdy crowds. Could totally see Cena doing a match there. But basically, my point is he's doing a whole full schedule. He has no movies planned, nothing like that. He cleared his whole schedule for just this year. He's giving us a full year of John Cena. Full year, John Cena. And then that's it.
One last commitment to the
And that's it.
fans and to WWE, and then
He's
he's
going to be
officially
ambassador.
gonna be.
That's his next role.
Yeah.
He's going to be an ambassador with Titus O'Neil and people like that. He's going to be like kind of the role man, kind of like what The Rock does for WWE. He's like good face to
Yeah.
have. That's what John's going to do. But also, he's going to be wearing a suit. He's not going to wear the jorts anymore. No more hats. He's going to be businessman John, which is going to feel really weird. But
Yeah.
Cena said himself, he's going to put the stuff away. He's going to put the stuff away and wear a suit
Yeah.
every
But I
day.
do think every once in a while, when there's a special show, I think he is
Okay,
gonna
yeah,
become.
no, he said himself, if there's a special time, he'll put everything back on. But every day when Cena's in the building with Triple H, William Regal, and everyone like that, you will see him in a suit. You will see him in a suit and
Yeah.
tie. Just like,
You see him in a new light, and it's gonna be weird, but at the same time, he's enjoying what he's doing, and I'm glad he's considering that because
yeah,
he's doing acting right now with Peacemaker and so many other movie projects for himself, and he's been
yes,
really successful though. But eventually,
100%.
some actors don't. Well, not say they don't last long, but eventually
Oh
when
no,
actors feel like it's time that they've ran their course, they have to start thinking about what other things they can do, like build up some things or investment basically. And I
Yeah.
think and I think him being, an employee of WWE too, as like you said, an ambassador, is a great way to do that. And it gives him at least more money
Yeah, it gives
and a
him more. It
good
gives him
job.
more money. He's still in the WWE family. Triple H has said
Yes.
on many accounts, even when he took over, Cena's always welcome in WWE, no matter what. He's gonna be family for life, even if he was more with Vince and everything. Still, he's a WWE family at heart, and Cena even knows himself. So when WWE offered him to be an ambassador, Cena was like, yes, 100%. So now Cena will be working close with Triple H and the higher ups, and kind of be like kind of the genius idea with like sponsorship and deals, and he's going to be in that conversation more, so you get a chance to see him and Rock work together a little bit more. So
Oh yes.
it's going to be interesting with Cena and Rock at the helm, while Rock's doing with like the board of directors and the higher ups, and Triple H is still in those conversations. But then you have Cena with like William Regal, who's like the president, all working together, making WWE a better place, which is, that's still crazy to think about, that Cena's going to be an ambassador. I would have never thought I'd ever say that.
Yeah.
But
No. Me neither.
but he already is an ambassador because the amount of Make-A-Wish stuff he does already. But now he's going to be a
Yeah.
true ambassador. That's insane.
Yeah.
So it's going to be weird. Let's just put it that way. When he puts a suit
A
and tie,
a new time is gonna be upon us.
yeah. So as I also say, The Rock, because The Rock has great lines. Let's enjoy the ride that
Yep.
he's going to take us. So let's get to the actual promo itself. Let's get to it. So Cena comes out, one of the biggest reactions of the night. He has a beautiful blue last ever time shirt. He's got a hat. He's got the little thing that he does where it says "You can't see me." He's got all of that. I even bought the red shirt for Toronto, and I have the headband and the armbands. So I went all Cena out for this. I had to. It was a must.
Oh yeah.
It's funny enough. Quick Cena little thing here. My first Cena shirt ever was his blue and yellow. I think it was 15 years strong shirt. That he was in a feud with Dolph Ziggler, Big E,
Oh
AJ
yes.
Lee, like that kind of era Cena. That kind of Cena era. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so 100% I do think uh, that was like my first like it's my first shirt. It's my first shirt. So getting this one felt kind of nice because it fits me firstly, but also it's gonna be one of the few shirts that I keep forever because Cena is a guy that he was one of like the top few that started it for me.
Of course.
Like I said, I say it every time. When it comes to my Mount Rushmore of wrestling, it's Stone Cold, it's Rock, it's Shawn Michaels, and John Cena. That's my Mount Rushmore. Because I was with Cena way longer than Stone Cold. Rock was in there, Michaels was in there, but specifically Cena, because Cena, I started kind of starting out being like, okay, where am I gonna go next? Where am I going to go with Cena alone? And while I did have to see Cena in the back half of his career, I mean, the stuff he did with the U.S. Open Challenge, that's something that, I mean, come on. Like, the stuff he did with that was really good. Like, we can all be honest here. He helped a lot of young guys at that point, which was like
Oh, of course.
Sammy, Neville he fought, Cesaro he fought Wade Barrett. Like, he fought a ton of cool dudes in that U.S. Open title run when he beat Rusev, which I was a little sad that Rusev lost at the time, but at the end, I think the U.S. Open Challenge worked at the end of it. Because when Cena won the U.S. title, I was like, he kind of beat a younger guy. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm open to it. But then by the end, I was like, hey, this is some of Cena's best work he's had in a long time. I was like, hey, this is something I could appreciate. Bro, we fought guys like Sami Zayn. Like, he was fighting, like, good competition for the U.S. title. I mean,
Yeah.
he let Kevin Owens win his first match. Like, I don't... That's a lot. And Kevin Owens was a rookie at that point in NXT when he got called up, like, it's kind of crazy. So my respect for Cena will always be 100%. Even if he gets booed out the building, I still respect Cena. Even that, I still respect Cena because Cena did a lot for this business. Cena's done a lot for my life when it comes to watching wrestling, and he was someone that will always be in my heart no matter what. Swear to
Yeah.
God.
And speaking of that though, I mean, John Cena was one of the first wrestlers I watched,
Mhm.
along with my Rushmore for this modern era, like John Cena, The Undertaker, Triple H,
Mhm.
Randy Orton, just to name those guys up there. Um, he was the first. He was one of the first people I saw, from him winning the U.S. title to him winning his first World Heavyweight title in Los Angeles, which they were
Crazy.
at on Monday. So to see his rise, to see his downfalls over the years, to see the hate that he has gone through all these years, to see the love that he's gone through,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, he put WWE on his back for a very, 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 very long time in
Mhm.
this modern era. Now it is on the backs now of Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes to be, those examples. Um, and yeah, he is definitely one of the greatest superstars of all time in this modern era. And hopefully, we'll discuss, what our, greatest of all time Mount Rushmores are in a future video with the legends, with the old days, with this new generation, and with the modern generation. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Hmm.
everyone has to acknowledge that without John Cena, in a way, there is no WWE. There is no, you know,
Yeah.
there is no new talent that isn't inspired by John Cena.
A
And
hundred
without
percent.
the hate that John Cena has gotten, there is no, there will be no John Cena without
Yeah.
the hate.
Yeah. No. 100%. 100%. That's why, like, when a guy, like, a great example is AJ Styles, a guy who just came off the free agency market, leaving New Japan, very young at that point, just in the prime of his career, goes to WWE and immediately faces John Cena. But did Cena do the whole golden shovel thing and, like, basically win all the matches? No, actually. He actually gave AJ a win at SummerSlam. He won at SummerSlam,
Yeah,
and we were there in
yeah.
person. And I remember betting with you. I said I think AJ Styles is gonna win, and you were like, "What? Nah, AJ not gonna win." I'm like, "Hold on now." AJ and Cena were tied at this point. AJ's coming out of this a victor. He has to win this. And what happened? AJ won that night, and I got $5 for it. Appreciate the five. But yeah, so
Wait, I bet
but
you the $5.
we did a bet. We did a
Oh
bet.
God,
I picked AJ.
I
You picked
forgot that.
Cena. And you said I'll put $5 on it. I said $5 bet. It's about the easiest bet I made in my life. And I was right. Even though the match, holy shit, it took me for a roller coaster. There were times where I thought AJ, bro, he kicked out of a super AA. Like, who the fuck does that? Like, what the fuck? Who the fuck does
Yeah.
that? I was like, oh my god. But no, the match was. Funny things aside, no, the match itself was fucking phenomenal, and it was my first
Yeah,
favorite I ever went to.
and look
It
at
was,
the rivalries that John Cena has built up with
yeah,
Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton,
Triple H,
Edge, yeah, Triple H, who else? Umaga,
Umaga, yeah,
the list goes on with that, because John Cena knows how to make a story, and he knows how to be even with evil in a way, in a good and bad guy situation.
100%.
He is the ultimate, most loyal person in WWE, and CM Punk, definitely one of those,
Oh,
definitely up
oh,
there too.
oh.
CM Punk.
Right after the pipe bomb. Ho ho ho
Yep.
ho ho. Yes. Money in the Bank match. Yeah,
Yeah.
100% for sure. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of our retrospective on Cena. We'll obviously go into a deeper conversation at another time when we get
Yes.
closer to Cena's final match in December. We'll do one of these episodes where we say screw doing predictions and that we'll just do a retrospective on a legend. like Cena. We'll
Yes.
definitely do one of those. We'll do one of those. Anyway, so what does Cena have to say, and what is going to be the beginning of his retirement tour? Well, at first, he basically says he loves the energy. He's happy to be on Netflix. WWE is rising. They're one of the hottest products. I'm like, yep, Cena, you're right on all of those accounts. But then Cena gets to the questions that we want to know. Is Cena going for 17? Is Cena going to do this? Is Cena going to do that? And then he brought up some names. He said, what about Drew McIntyre? People booed, but I'm like, I want that. What about CM Punk? Everybody cheers. What about this guy? Like, he basically named a bunch of dudes. Like, hey, these could be some cool matches. And I'm like, yeah, Cena, those could be some
Cool
epic matches.
matches and redone matches that that could be a decade or more in the making.
100%. And there's also like some kind of future matches. Like, he brought up Logan Paul, for instance. Guy is legit in the ring, and I generally, like I said, in ring wise, I absolutely love Logan Paul as a person. Like, that dude gets it, and him and Cena could be a really fun match, I think, with the right story, of course. But in general, I think him naming Logan shows that Logan's got respect. But anyway, but yeah, he basically named a bunch of guys, and then he answered the question, "Can I go for 17?" And at first, he's like, "No." He's like, "No, I'm not going for 17. I can't. I can't, basically." And then he brought up his really long losing streak. I have the number here, and I forgot this losing streak is still going on. Cena said it's been 2,446 days since he won his last match.
Insane.
That is absolutely bonkers and wild. When he said that number, I was like, oh my god, he's right. He hasn't won a single match since he's came back. Holy shit. It's true though. So Cena's like, at this point, there are ways for me to get to 17, but it's gotta be a miracle. So he starts naming opportunities. Money in the Bank. He's won that before. Chamber. He's won that before. And then the one that everybody got hyped about, Royal Rumble. I even got hyped when he said Royal Rumble. I was like, yes. Yes. 100% yes. So Cena gets the crowd hype and says, it's got to be a miracle. But do you want me to enter the Royal Rumble? And everybody fucking cheered. We're like, yes, get him in the Rumble now. Get him in his last Rumble. And Cena basically saying, yeah, I'm not going to be that one where, like, yeah, I'm happy it's happening, and I'm very happy it's going to be a great, fun ride. But I'm not going to be the one where just like, oh, yeah, I'm here for 17, just do dream matches, that's it. No, he wants to win number 17. He's on a mission to prove, at his age, at 48 years old, that he can break the streak of Ric Flair's title record, 16. He's tied with Flair. He needs one more to break it. That's 17. So Cena's on a mission, no matter how he gets there, to fight for the world title. But as he said, he needs a miracle. But he said himself, he kind of compared it to a lotto ticket. Yeah, I kind of agree. It is like a lottery. You're taking a chance. You got a 50-50 shot of winning it. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
And a 50% chance of losing it. But this is his last run. He's got to go all in and all out in order for him to be once again and break the record to be the 17th World Heavyweight Champion.
Everything that he has in his body left that he left with Solo, he's got to put that in the past and put all of his energy that he has for these next few months. Like, he's got to put all his effort if he's going to get even a miracle shot for the world title. Even if it's not the Rumble or Chamber or something.
Yeah.
He's got to put everything on the line. He's got to put his body on the line to get what he wants. But Cena knows that. Cena knows this is the perfect time to shake things up. To be like, hey, I might be 48 years old and I'm old and I'm still kicking, but I'm not just going to go outside and just do a bunch of cool retirement matches and call it a day. No, I want to win my 17. I want to break that record. That's the attitude you want to have going in your final tour. That's how it's done. So Cena basically, after that statement he basically says, I will be entering the Royal Rumble. and he is the first entrant to announce he will be declaring for the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis in front of like 20,000 people. Cena in the Rumble. And when he
Yeah.
said it, I was like, yes, it just sounds right. It just sounds right. So, yeah, and then basically Cena finished it up thanking LA, and basically very thankful for giving him his time. And then Cena basically did the absolute classic line. You want some?
You want some? Come
Come
get
get some.
some.
Drops the mic, gone, leaves. Perfect way to end the Cena promo. Now my reaction to the actual promo itself, it just gave me all of the old school, like the old Cena feels. Like it was.
It was John Cena. That's who it was. There's
I generally,
no
yeah,
one.
no,
There is no one
no,
ever going to replace that. No one.
100%. His
No
passion, his energy was fantastic, and it was like, oof, it hit all the right spots too. And now hearing that he's gonna be wrestling in the Rumble is gonna be one of the most watched things this year, and the most unpredictable. And now we got Cena in the Rumble.
Very.
Let's fucking go. I couldn't ask for a better idea. So, but yeah, that was the Cena promo, basically announcing he's gonna be entering the Rumble in Indianapolis. We don't know what number he's coming at, because again, we're not gonna figure that out until the day of. But there are some ideas. I've seen some ideas, and I like that people are thinking about it. Where should he enter? What's a perfect spot for John Cena?
You know what? Let's do that right now. What do you think his number?
Oh, you want
would
to do
be
this
in the
now?
Rumble?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So, I'm going to think of this from two perspectives. Perspective number one is bring Cena in middle of the Rumble, potentially goes all the way. Which is like, that's the easy answer. That's what people want to say. But what I really want to say, Cena enters number 1 or 2 and goes the fucking distance. Literally is in the match for 40, 50 minutes, Rey Mysterio style. Just surviving. Every time he tries to get thrown out, he doesn't get thrown out. Or he finds a way to eliminate the person. If we're going to really prove that Cena could still survive in a Rumble, brother, put him at number 1 or number 2 and let him survive.
Yes.
That is the way to do it.
And I told you that, that was my pick. That if he is planning to do the impossible and challenge for the world heavyweight title once again, he's got to do it number 1.
Gotta enter number 1. Gotta enter number 1, number 2. Like, it only makes sense because Cena has he entered number 1 before? I don't think he has.
I don't think
he has. So it'd be a first for him. But it'd be a really cool challenge to see 48-year-old John Cena fighting in the Rumble, surviving every time. Because, again, Cena knows how to survive a Rumble. He's done it before. He knows how to do it. It's just more of, can his body take him that far? Can he last that long? Because of the age and everything and the cardio he has to go through. But again, Cena, for his age at 48, that dude is ripped. So I know that dude is built for the challenge. But it's going to be interesting to see how WWE books it if he does go the distance. And what kind of young superstars are going to be around him in that final? Like, that's going to be an interesting question. But yeah, Cena in the Rumble. Shit, sign me up. I already paid for my Peacock subscription, so shit, sign me up.
Yeah, no.
Sign me up.
This is like we think this is probably the most unpredictable Royal Rumble ever.
100%. Alright, that's enough about Cena. Let's get to our next matchup, because there was a match after this. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship. Now, I do have a little story to tell, because everyone was texting me what's going on with the match. Well, there was a change. Originally, this match was going to be a women's last women's standing match. But, due to changes, they did it on a live show in MSG, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan won that match to retain. So this became kind of a normal match. Even though I was looking forward to the last woman standing, you already have tribal combat. It is what it is. You can't have 2 in the same night. I get it. I understand. You don't want to overkill it. I get it. So But this was still for the women's title. That match was still for the women's title. They just took out the last woman standing graphic and just used the other one. So, it is what it is. Regardless, this has been a rivalry that's been going on for quite some time. I want to say after WrestleMania, this is how long this has been. Rhea Ripley had the Women's World Championship in her hand. She won the title. She beat Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, who had a fever, and still won the title. And it was looking real smooth for Rhea. But then Liv Morgan returns at the Rumble, and she's on the hunt to get her revenge tour, take everything away from Rhea Ripley. And she kind of did. She took away herself, basically broken shoulder, had to get surgery. Took away his love of his life, Dom, and took away the group, Judgment Day.
Yeah.
She basically broke up the Judgment Day into pieces. So, while that was going on and waiting for Rhea and Mommy to come back, Dom was almost kind of faking not wanting Liv around him so Priest can be kind of watching the eye. Same with Finn as well, but Finn was also in it as well. Then, SummerSlam, Rhea Ripley comes back. Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan in a really good damn women's title match. That match was great. But the chair distraction from Dom cost Liv to hit the Oblivion, and then they kissed right in front of Mommy, and I was like, oh my god, this Dom basically literally turned on Rhea and said, my love of the life is Liv Morgan. Holy shit. Like, that was literally right here. I was like, ain't no way that just happened. It was crazy. So then while Rhea Ripley is on the hunt, every time Judgment Day would get involved, she would drop each member of Judgment Day. Single-handedly with Damian Priest. Priest wanted Finn, Rhea wanted Liv. So then Rhea finally gets her wish at Bad Blood with Dom in a shark cage, Rhea Ripley versus Liv. And the match was okay. Not as good as the SummerSlam one. It was decent, but Dom in the shark cage was hilarious. But Liv retained the title. You want to know why? Because Raquel Rodriguez joins Judgment Day and helps Liv as a bodyguard. So now Rhea Ripley's got another obstacle to climb. She's not only got to deal with Judgment Day interference, but she also has to deal with Raquel Rodriguez now. So that's going on. Then Liv just retained against Io Sky in a really good match at Saturday night's main event. Even though I wanted Io to win the title, it is what it is. At that time, I was like, alright, it's time for a new change. Again, I respect Liv, and I think Liv's reign as women's champion was easily her best work. And this whole Liv, Rhea Ripley revenge tour in the beginning was very good. But once she won the women's title, at that point I was like, alright, it's time to wrap it up. We need to move on. But luckily, Netflix was gonna finally put the nail in the coffin. So now here we are. Now we're basically.
And it's definitely one of the greatest. I think one of the best women's feuds of the year, of the last 2 years, honestly, and probably the modern era, you could say.
It was really, really good, and I'll admit this because I've told Manny this many times before. I don't love stories in wrestling, but there's some that could work if you know what you're doing.
If done right.
Exactly. So let's say a Mandy Rose and Otis, for example. That one worked because Otis is a popular guy. And Mandy Rose is a very beautiful woman, but it worked in the end because they had a cool little SummerSlam match with Sonya Deville. So in general, it worked.
And there was chemistry between those two.
Tons of chemistry, yeah. Every time Otis, a.k.a. Otis, was on screen with Mandy Rose, they were just so good together. Like, they were so good together. And that's why that story worked. And I would also say Otis and Maxine's kind of love, even though now they're more sisters than anything with Tozawa.
Well, siblings, kind of.
Yeah, that one also worked as well because Maxine, the sister of Max Dupree, basically wanted Otis in the group, and Max was not for it. But at the end, Maxine got what she wanted. He basically dressed up Otis, and Otis was more of a model at that time before he went back to American Alpha, or sorry, not American, Alpha
Alpha
Academy.
Academy.
Sorry,
Yep.
sorry, two different groups.
Good.
But yeah, so yeah, so from there, Otis and Maxine are now kind of brother sister with Tozawa, and now they're kind of on their own island, while Chad Gable has American Made. And we will talk about Chad Gable a little later on, cause oh boy. But to this match itself, what did I think of the match? I think it was good. Not as good as their SummerSlam match, 100%. But I think the match was good. I thought it was solid.
I think it delivered. The pop was there, especially when The Undertaker come out.
Oh, we gonna talk about that. Oh my god, that shit was crazy. But
that was surprise of the night.
Oh yeah, I 100%. So definitely for sure, I think Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, they put on a decent show. I think it was way better than their Bad Blood match, 100%. I think it was much better than that one. I loved the telling of basically Rhea using her power while Liv was trying to use her craftiness, her quickness. It just makes like just a perfect story, big woman versus little woman. It's a perfect story with that kind of stuff. And then I think on top of that, I think Liv's, the way they kept Liv very strong. She lost like 3 riptides and kicked out of 1. Kept her really strong in the loss. So that I could also respect as well. And then for Rhea, I'm happy for Rhea. She lost her potential incredible reign before it even started after the injury. If that injury doesn't happen, maybe Rhea Ripley is still champion at this point. Maybe. But but never say never.
Definitely a lot of injuries played a part in this feud. A lot.
Oh yeah, but Liv and Dom, their chemistry on TV was some of the most funniest stuff ever. It was so funny.
Oh yeah.
It was so funny. Like, oh my god, it had me cracking up every time. It was so good.
Shows I'm curious because Dominic has done a really phenomenal job on getting the crowd to hate him.
Yeah, the heat on Dom is crazy. But then he had a match with Gunther and Dom was getting chants, so who knows? Future's bright for Dom. That's for sure. Future's bright for Dom. But on Liv's reign, again, like I said, I've said it many times in my story. I saw Liv win her championship against Ronda Rousey at Money in the Bank in Vegas, and she was still so young, learning so much at that time. So I knew her run was probably gonna be subdued and not as good as it should be. And plus, it was a different era at that time. But it was an interesting experiment. Have Liv Morgan win the women's title. She's got a popular fan base. And see what happens. And it was a decent reign, but it was very short, which I kind of expected. This one, they actually gave us some length. She held it for like 200 plus days. And in the end, it worked out because it made Liv a better woman in this case as a wrestler, because she really improved in the ring. She's not as green as when she once was. She's a veteran at this point. So shout out to Liv, shout out to Rhea, shout out to the moving pieces in Judgment Day and everything like that. It's been a fun story, but I believe it's now time to move on, specifically for Rhea, move on to something else. So we'll see who steps up. She's the champ now. She's going to celebrate next week.
Yeah.
We'll see what's next. We'll see what's next for Mommy. For Mommy. And that means we have 2 brand new women's world champions. Yeah. Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah. Insane. And well deserved for, Rhea Ripley, one last time. And let's see how this one is going to be.
Yeah, I hope they learn from the mistakes of not booking Rhea in championship matches. I hope we've learned from that mistake. That was the mistake they made last time, and it didn't work out. Hopefully, they've learned from that mistake, and they give Rhea Ripley challengers. That's what I want. But yeah, congrats to those 2. Happy for Rhea. Happy for Liv. Happy for all parties. And I'm excited to see where Liv goes now that she doesn't have a championship. I'm excited to see, what kind of singles feud we could do with her. I've heard Becky might be in the conversation because, by the way, just
Yeah.
no Becky return, by
Which
the way.
I'm not surprised. Which I'm
No
not
Becky return, by
surprised.
the way. They did
Yeah.
not put Becky on this show. They already had enough craziness. No Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
That's okay, because I think they're saving her for
Yeah.
something
No, no.
bigger, I believe.
I
So,
think the Rumble will probably be when she debut. I mean not debut, but returns to WWE after that long hiatus.
yeah, like the only thing I could maybe see is like maybe a Raw before they have her there and she declares she's in the
Yes.
Rumble. Maybe, but that's like the only maybe possibility we see Becky early. If not, Becky's gonna be in the Rumble, I think. So I do
Yeah.
agree. But Becky was on the promotional for Netflix, so it doesn't mean
Yes.
Becky's not coming. She is, because she also just
Yeah.
signed a new deal. PW Insider just confirmed
Yeah.
today that she signed a new extension. So she's staying with WWE. She's going nowhere, as I kind of expected. I kind of knew going in. Becky's so happy in WWE with her and Seth. They have a
Yeah.
kid, of course. Yeah, no, I did not expect Becky to leave at all. I was not surprised. Becky Lynch is now, officially signed with WWE once again. Like she has a full, I think it's like a 5-year, 6-year extension, something like it's a ton of money, but it's well deserved because Becky's done so much for the company. Becky's done so much for WWE. She does a lot of movies as well. I kind of get it. I kind of get why you give Becky Lynch that kind of big money. I get it.
Yeah, no, and yeah, no, it's gonna be huge. And to be honest, as some people might not know, but I used to not like Becky at first.
Oh my god, I had so many arguments with this dude at school about Becky. Like everyone else at my table
Yeah,
was pretty chill with Becky. Like I think not Nate, my friend Dylan was cool with Becky. Ramel
yeah,
was cool with Becky, and then I think he had like
yeah.
another friend that watched WWE. He was also cool with Becky. The only motherfucker that hated on that table was this fool, Manny. Even when she was a babyface on SmackDown Live and won the women's title, he said, "Fuck Becky Lynch." I was like, "Ain't no way, ain't no way." He just said that, and then when she had a match at
Yeah.
SummerSlam in a 6-woman tag where Nikki Bella returned, still hating on
Yeah.
Becky Lynch. I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? Did you not watch NXT Takeover? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what the fuck?
And I think I told, and I think I told you why was because I felt that that I just didn't understand her gimmick. I didn't know what she was, but it wasn't until I saw the man gimmick,
The man.
and
Yeah.
the man gimmick brought something different to the table. It
Man,
brought so much aura, I think, for me.
Man's literally pulled if you know the new dog, the I understand meme. That's what Manny basically did when Becky became the man. Ah, I understand now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I can understand though, because like I said, I call her previous gimmick punk rock Irish wrestler. It's like the
Yeah.
best thing I could describe it.
Did I think that she was a solid wrestler? Yes, I think that she was a good wrestler. But for me, it was just her gimmick that I just didn't understand.
You couldn't understand it at the time. Yeah.
I couldn't get with it
Right,
until the
right.
man came around.
And then the man came around like, hold on now.
Especially when that brand split happened.
Oh
when
my
Nia
God,
Jax
yeah.
supposedly punched her in the face, and she kept
That changed
bleeding and she
everything,
was
yeah.
Still standing.
No,
I
that
think
that changed everything.
definitely
That changed everything.
Skyrocket, Becky Lynch as one of the faces of WWE.
That changed everything. I do agree.
Automatically.
And now Becky Lynch, who's had like a decent, solid run in the Triple H era, she's had some really good matches. I mean, her and Trish, I thought her storyline with Trish was good. Her and Rhea, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see where Becky kind of lands up and what Becky's gonna do with the rest of the roster. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting when she gets back. But yeah, but just to finish up on this, yeah, I think it was a solid match. Again, not as crazy as the SummerSlam match. Way better than the Bad Blood one. This one was like the middle match. This was good, but nothing crazy. Like some of the crazier matches I've seen. But still solid overall, I believe. So we go on to that. And then shit gets even crazier. Rhea's walking up the ramp. Actually, wait. I forgot another thing. easily my moment of the night. That was not a moment of the night. Let me explain.
Yeah.
So, Rhea Ripley holds the championship in her hands. That sleazy son of a bitch, Dom, comes up on the apron.
Oh
And
god,
it
that's
looks like he's
hilarious
about to
moment of the
try to
night.
basically try to snake Liv and join Rhea once again. Now young Rhea, when he was with her Dom, probably would have probably been an idiot and probably accept Dom back. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say this now: Rhea Ripley is no dumb girl anymore. She is a grown woman. So as Dom is about to get a hug,
Smart
bink,
woman.
low
Low
blow.
blow.
Literal low blow. The
Ah,
funniest low blow. And then a riptide. Something we've been asking for her to do for so long. She riptides Dom. And it was hilarious. I
oh
was
yeah.
dying laughing when that happened. And Dom deserved it. You can't
Yeah.
snake Liv and go back to your former ex. That's not how that
Yeah.
works. When you commit, you commit. Like you stuck it. When you
Yes.
stick with Liv, you don't ever go to Rhea ever again.
But
Rhea is her
now,
own.
you know,
Oh, and I
yeah.
just want to say this now. Jay Uso officially owns Rhea, other than Buddy
Oh
Matthews,
god. Oh
because
god.
Jay respects Rhea more than Dom did. Just a fact.
Yeah.
Just a fact
Yeah,
of
true,
life.
true. But here's the thing though now. Now what will be Liv Morgan's reaction to Dominic doing that?
That is a good question.
And,
Yeah.
and we gotta keep the ball rolling around because Dominic might be trying to transfer to SmackDown.
Ah, yes, I forgot to add this extra piece to this whole Raw chaos. The trade
Yes.
portal. Now, what is a trade portal? A trade portal is a moment in time in between Raw and SmackDown that people can ask for their trades to different brands. So, for instance, let's say Carmelo Hayes is a great example. Carmelo Hayes is not happy on SmackDown. He's not getting as much bookings. He's losing a lot. He wants a fresh start. He wants to go to Netflix. Mellow on Netflix. Has a nice sound to it. Well, he's going to have to talk to Nick Aldis, request a trade, and then Raw is going to have to see if they like Mello, and they're like, hey, we want Mello, and then they got to give something in return for Mello. So if Mello
Yep.
does get traded, SmackDown has to get something back. And it's kind of
Yep.
vice versa. So, for example, let's say Adam Pearce wants, let's say he wants Solo Sokoa, right? He wants the Bloodline. He wants Jacob Fatu. He will have to request for Jacob Fatu and Solo and Tama, the rest of the group, but they'll have to give something to Raw in return. So something would have to go back to Nick Aldis to make it even. That's what the trade portal is. And trade portals have been done in many other sports, football specifically. They call it the trade deadline, where teams, some players want out, and they'll trade them to different teams, or if they want better draft picks or better assets, they'll trade their assets and get better picks if they're rebuilding, or if they're in a championship contention, they want a goated player. They'll
And same with
send a
the
bunch of trades.
NBA though too. With
NBA, yes.
yeah,
There's a big
their
trade going on
situations.
right now. Jimmy Butler wants out of
Oh god.
Miami. He's asking for a trade. Pat Riley is not budging, which is that relationship is basically tarnished in half. That situation is insane. But yeah, Jimmy
Yeah,
Butler
no.
feels like he's lost his joy. He wants out. He wants out of Miami. So that's kind of what the
Yeah.
trade portal is. Is basically wrestlers that feel they're not doing their best want a new fresh start. They want something different. And funny enough, in one of the backstage segments, you could actually see Adam Pearce talking to potentially a brand new superstar, a veteran Bailey, potentially could be going to Raw. They might have just scored a deal, and Bailey's going to Raw. It might be Bailey's last time on SmackDown. She's going to Raw. Because she was talking to Adam Pearce and saying, do your job. Get it done. So, might be a done deal. We'll see next week. And it's funny, too, because their next show, they're going to San Jose, which is the home of Bailey. So, it'd be kind of a cool little, kind of sweetened deal for Bailey to go to Raw, because she gets a chance to return to Raw in her hometown of San Jose, California. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that little piece. That's the trade portal. There's still ongoing trades right now. There's no finalization on any of these trades, just rumors of who's going where. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we get some answers on who's going where and we get a list of names, what trade is happening. So keep your ears peeled. Obviously keep an eye out on WWE.com, social media, and you'll see trade announcements or okay, this guy's going here and this is the newest star on Raw, who's going to Netflix, who's staying on Netflix, who's leaving. Like, it's gonna get crazy. But that's what the trade portal is. A bunch of guys that feel like their value is not being used want to get traded. They want to get traded and go to a different brand and start fresh. So it's happened in many sports, but now WWE has their own kind of version of a trade deadline, which is an interesting idea. So I just wanted to add that in. So then the match ends, and Rhea's on the stage. She's celebrating, and then you hear is gong. Out comes American Badass Undertaker. For what reason?
Yeah.
I don't know. But epic at that point. Comes out in a beautiful motorcycle. He rides around near ringside. Doesn't even get in the ring or anything. Goes.
I can't lie. I thought he was gonna go down.
Yo, that's what everyone else told me. Like, hey, is Dom about to die? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, Taker could walk in the ring, and I'm like, oh. And I told him, I think Dom will be all right. I was right. Dom was okay. Dom got out of there quickly. Because there's footage of Dom. I think in the fan footage of Dom and Liv having almost a little argument, and then leaving, getting out of the way for Taker.
Yeah.
So there is a little friction there. Anyway,
Yep.
but yeah, so that kind of happens there. And then from there, Taker goes up to Rhea, gives her a bit of a high five, kind of a congratulations, and then they do the pose. Rhea's got her belt, they put the fists in the air, pyro goes off, Rhea Ripley, your new women's world champion, and just kind of a cool moment. Another badass to another badass. You got the badass Rhea Ripley, and then you have the badass Undertaker, American Badass Undertaker. It was just kind of a cool moment. That's what it was.
It was a cool moment.
It's a cool
It
moment.
really was.
That's what it was. That's what it was. It was very quick,
Yeah.
but a very cool moment. Like, it was very shocking. I was like, when I heard the gong, I was like, what? Because I knew he was in the
Really?
area because he was doing something, but maybe a dead man show or something. But I
Yeah.
didn't think he was just gonna pop out after the Rhea Ripley match. It was not on my agenda. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, it was cool. It was a cool moment for Rhea. I think even Rhea, they actually had a press conference, post show, and she talked about it. And she said, yeah, like, it's funny. Like, her answer was like, I thought kicking Dom in the nuts was gonna be my moment of the night, but then Taker comes out, and I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. So yeah, what a night for Rhea Ripley. What a hell of a night for Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
Got a chance to sit in the spotlight with Undertaker, passing kind of almost a passing of the torch, and got a chance to kick Dom in the nuts. You couldn't ask for a better night, honestly.
Yeah,
Shout out Rhea Ripley.
no.
Shout out Mommy.
No.
No, I'm excited for Mommy's reign. I've been waiting for this for a while. It's time. And there's a lot of opportunities you can do with her. I couldn't ask for any better. So,
No,
but yeah,
not at all.
that's
Not at
Liv
all.
Morgan and Rhea Ripley in a nutshell. That's what happened there. So before we got to Jey Uso and Drew, there was a segment backstage, like I said, Adam Pearce talking to Bayley. They seem like they got a confirmed deal. Bayley leaves. Adam Pearce is about to talk to Kathy Kelly about this momentous night. Adam Pearce now on Netflix with his brand, his Monday Night Raw. But then American Made walk in, and Gable's like, well, I'm going to be continuing being amazing on Monday Night Raw. And basically, Gable wants a fight. He's very kind of upset that he's not on the card. He wants a match.
Yep.
And then he said the word luchador. At that point, I was like, Gable, Mr. Gable, what are you implying? So Gable basically is saying he wants to fight the best luchador you got. So Adam Pearce says, I have a perfect opponent for you. But I'm going to say it's the best luchador I could find. And are you sure? Are you more sure in your life you want to do this? And Gable said, I've never been so sure in my life. Make it happen. And then they leave. So then Mr. Pearce says, excuse me, Miss Kelly, I have to go make a phone call. And at that point, I'm like, did Gable just challenge Penta Aceto Miedo?
Yeah, the soon-to-be newest star in WWE.
Recently, if you guys haven't heard, I'll catch you up real quick. There's been vignettes of this kind of. It started off as just a slash/circle at first. Then it expanded to a mass logo. Then it had eyes. And then it finished off with the official logo, Penta, on the mask. This week, we saw the logo for the first time. And again, it didn't say a date though. It didn't say next week. Didn't say the week after. Didn't say 2 weeks. It said nothing. It said nothing on the bottom. It just showed the logo and then that's it. So we're like, alright, well, he's on the way, but when? But then Pierce said, we're doing a mystery luchador thing. So I'm like, got it.
Next week.
Chad Gable, Penta Zero Miedo, Monday Night Raw. I'm definitely watching Raw. 100% watching Raw next week.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Next week. Because I want to see the breakdown of everything, of what happened. Of what the aftermath of this new era on Netflix is going to be. Especially with our main event later on tonight, which we'll talk about 100% on that.
Yeah, we're going to go pretty quickly through the next match, because this one wasn't too uneventful. Yeah. It was a good match, but nothing too crazy.
Yes. But I was going to say, before we continue on and move on, I was going to say, let's give a little summary on who Pentagon has been to us for many years.
Yeah. For the new viewer that has never heard of the name Penta Zero Miedo, Pentagon Jr., he's had many names at this point. Penta Escudo, he's had many names at this point.
Yep.
He is a very popular luchador that started off in Lucha Underground. That's why I first saw him, and he was Pentagon Dark, I believe, at that point. Yes,
Pentagon Junior and then Dark.
Then Dark. So Pentagon Junior / Dark was a character on Lucha Underground that was a very dangerous character. He was a guy that was. By the way. Oh yeah, that's on Netflix. Lucha Underground was on Netflix for a short time. But yeah, so basically a very dangerous character that his traits were he loves breaking arms. He loves snapping people's arms and being very brutal in the ring. And he snapped a lot of people's arms. It was a dramatic effect, but my God, he snapped a lot of arms. Like, God damn, that man snapped so many arms. Yeah. He snapped so many arms. He had times with Rey Fenix, his brother. He's had times with guys like Rey Mysterio, Chavo Guerrero, and many other names that have now been turned into different names. Like Chelsea Green, for instance, was in Lucha Underground for a short time. She had a different name, but she was in Lucha Underground for a very short time. Io Sky, same thing, also Lucha Underground alumni. And there's a couple other names that were in WWE that were also in Lucha Underground on the Indies or from Japan. So very cool, product. But Penta, for me, that was obviously where I saw him for the first time. But where I really got to know him was actually in TNA, actually. He went to TNA after his Lucha Underground contract expired. Him and his brother went to the TNA Tag Division, which was called Impact at the time. Now they're back to TNA, but at Impact at the time, they won the Impact World Tag Team titles. They fought guys like LAX and Rascals and other teams like that I quite enjoy. And at that point, I was like, yeah, these dudes are legit. And then Penta, after Rey, I think Rey got hurt that year, he went on a singles feud against Sami Callihan. And that feud was fucking peak. Oh my God, that feud was insane. That was the feud that got me to love Penta. Because, bro, he put Sami through hell. That dude put Sami Callihan through fucking hell. And I loved every minute of it. And then the final match they had, which was like a death match. Oh my God, so fucking good. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
And technically, for me, when I first saw this character, I was just hyped, and that was when you first introduced me to the independent scene, to New Japan,
Yes.
And when I watched him, I was like, this is probably one of the greatest luchadors of all time, alongside his brother. His brother is phenomenal.
His brother's absolutely phenomenal. If you don't know, his brother's Rey Fenix. That dude is phenomenal. Yes. It looked like actually both of them were going to come in together. But contracts and injury time and
issues and
injury time added and Rey's going to have to wait a year, unfortunately.
But all I'm going to say is this, though, that Pentagon, was, in my opinion, my first ever death match that I've ever seen with him and Vampiro, who is a former WCW legend.
It's a pretty good first death match.
which was at their technically their first big pay-per-view, Ultima Lucha
Ultimate
won.
Lucha. Yep. Yeah.
And ever since then, I've been convinced ever since.
Yeah, that dude Penta is legit. So, if anyone's worried about Penta and being like, oh, he's gonna just join LWO, no, I don't think it's gonna be that weird. I think, okay, sure, you are gonna see the crossover between him and Ray. I do see that happening. But do I see him just straight up joining LWO? No, I think he's going solo. I think he's going solo. I think he's gonna be his own dude. He's gonna have his own very unique style. He's gonna be very different. But the only man that knows him best is Ray. So Ray will give an insight on who Penta is. But do I see him joining LWO? Nah. I think Penta will be fine by himself. I think. They'll just have to do kind of like what they've been doing with Julia and Shinsuke when he does vignettes. Just kind of translate it to English because they like doing that. Just do that so that people can understand it because Penta is a very unique individual. He's not no normal luchador. He's very powerful. He's very strong. He can fly. He's a great high flyer, of course, because that's what luchadors have to do. But one thing you're going to note that you're going to love, and Gunther said this on account. You know what Gunther's hardest chops he's ever taken? It was Pentagon. He said it in an interview himself. Pentagon is the hardest chops he's ever taken. And I believe that.
Yes.
Because Pentagon's chops are unreal.
Hell of a striker and a hell of a kicker, too.
Nah, 100%. But
his kicks were nasty.
But his chops, bro, like, it's not even a chop. It's a palm. He don't use the full. He used the palm. Which is
it's like rock clapping with rocks, basically.
Yeah, that's what it is. And that's why I understand why Gunther, formerly Walter, said the hardest chop I've ever taken is Pentagon. I was like, I see that. Because goddamn, that man sends it. So anyone in WWE that's ready to hear those chops, good luck. 'Cause goddamn, those hurt. Chad Gable, I wish you luck. Is what I'm trying to imply. Chad Gable. Now, by the way, am I really excited for the match? Absolutely, because Chad Gable is the most underrated wrestler in all of WWE. That dude is underrated as hell. That dude works his ass off. Even though he doesn't win, he works his tail off. Like, shout out to Chad Gable. That man's a machine. That dude's insane. And that's why this match excites me the most.
And I think that's going to be one of the matches of the night or one of the sleepers of the night.
Oh, 100%.
I'm predicting match of the night.
I'm also predicting match of the night. Just for the simple fact we're going to get an entrance, but we're also going to see Penta in the flesh. We're going to see Penta
and not only that,
wrestle.
Though, but let's not also forget, though, guys, that also for the newcomers as well, that this man is a former world champion.
Oh no, he's won world titles. If you're like, oh yeah, has he only won mid card titles? No, he's won world titles everywhere he's gone. He's won
most
a
of
world
his
title.
Career has most of it. From what I've seen, most of his career has been most of the either world titles or the tag titles.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no in between. Maybe here and there you get like a little middleweight belt, but that's about it. Everything else is world and tag titles. Something that you love. So
he can tag team with anyone and win belts with them, but he can also be in the singles side and win the world title and be a chance to be a main guy of a company.
Yeah, and also something I also wanted to know because I got a quote here from one of my friends. It wasn't a text, but like something I thought of. When we were talking about Penta with my other friends, a good friend of ours that might be a potential guest in the future, Nathaniel, was talking about Penta, and he was a bit worried. And I was like, why are you worried? He's like, I'm worried he's just going to be dealt to LWO and just call it a day. And I was like, I understand your concern.
That is a worry.
That is a worry.
But
I think
I do have full confidence.
I think WWE's a little smarter, I think.
Yes.
If they could do it with Stephanie Vecchio, who's from Chile, by the way, and doesn't have the best English in the world. If they could do it with Stephanie, if they could do it with Julia, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be all right by himself.
And not just that, though, but I think that, I think he fits more by himself right now than with LWO. I mean, if he does go to LWO, great, but it needs to make sense.
It needs to make sense,
LWO's
right?
characters are full of, colorful, they're fun, they're energetic,
Yeah.
and they're, light. While Pentagon, on the other hand, has been mostly dark and brutal and ruthless.
Ruthless, yeah.
So,
So if we're gonna see that version of Penta, yeah, we're gonna see that version of Penta come out in WWE. Yeah, LWO makes no sense. So I get Nate's concern, and I will say Nate's a little bit of a new learner. He's kind of still learning the business a little bit. He has some very wild takes, but that's who Nate is. Nate loves hot takes, so take it for what you will. But I was like, hey man, I get your concern, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. I don't think it's gonna be a whole simplified thing of making him a Mexican. No, I think they're gonna give him a whole presentation. He's gonna have so much aura, and he's gonna be just fine. I think Penta's gonna be just fine by himself, just tearing up the whole roster. I think like he's gonna be just fine. I think Penta's gonna be an excellent addition. I mean, they have confidence in it. I mean, they skipped NXT. He could have went to NXT and call it a day and fight with those guys, but they believe in Penta so much they're like, nope, you don't need NXT. Just like Motor City Machine Guns, they need NXT. Same thing. So I expect the same thing from Penta, but I get the concern. I get the concern of Nate. Again, I do see Ray and Penta crossing paths because they know each other so well. I do see that. But maybe he helps LWO, but maybe not join the group. Maybe he helps Ray, but doesn't join, like, outright joins the group. Like, Penta's, like, almost an insurance policy. So, like, if Ray needs an extra hand, maybe Penta steps up. Penta's like, alright, I gotta help Ray out. He's one of my legends. I gotta help him. Maybe that's what it is. And I'd rather see that. Like, I'd rather see a Ray and Penta team up against one of his rivals. I'd rather see something like that than him just straight up joining LWO. So, we'll see. But I think...
And, oh, hell, even a respect match.
Yeah, a respect 1v1.
With one of the LWO manager, with one of the LWO talent or, fighters. For example, I can definitely see him and Dragon Lee early.
Oh my god, yeah, him and Dragon Lee would be insane. Him and Dragon Lee would go crazy. You want to see a pure lucha wrestling match, brother? Right there.
And you know what? Hell, for a Saturday night main event or a pay-per-view, put him and Rey Mysterio in the ring.
Do it. Like I said, I know a lot of people worry about the whole LWO thing, and I respect that. But let's be smart here. If they do their cards right, this could be one of Ray's best stories since, I would say, Dom. Like, it could be one of Ray's best stories in a while. And I know...
Right now he's on neutral terms.
He's on neutral.
Right,
he's neutral.
Been really doing much. But, from the looks of it, he looks like that he's, developing a little rivalry with the New Day.
The New Day, yeah. Yeah, the New Day. So...
But, we'll see what happens, though.
We'll see what happens.
I definitely do think that there can be a respect match between Pentagon and Rey Mysterio and the LWO.
Yeah, like generally, like I understand Nate's concern, but I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried. I think we'll be okay. So, but that basically confirms Penta next week. That's gonna be a fun conversation to talk about his debut. That's gonna be fun to talk about. Anyway, so to run through this match real quick with Jey Uso and Drew. Decent little match, kind of a cool down match to set up for the main event.
It was a great match, I can't lie.
It was good.
Really
it was good. I do think it was a bit of a cool down match to get ready for CM Punk and Rollins, of course. But I do, even for a cool down match, I thought it was solid. I thought it was good. Yeah. These two have great chemistry. Really good stuff. I do think they've had better matches in the past, I think.
I agree.
Like 100% better matches, but I think for just a simple Jey vs. Drew match, I think it was good. Oh, I can't forget about this. A celebrity came out with Jey Uso. Travis Scott smoking a joint. That is how you know you were in the Netflix era. Cool. That dude was smoking a joint, which is weed, by the way. Smoking a joint. Basically on live television. They didn't censor it. You could clearly see the joint right on the camera. You could see the joint as Travis is doing his Fiend song, coming out with Jey Uso. And doing the yeeting with Pat McAfee, which was a cool moment. But quick little, highlights here. Like I'm trying to get to this so we can get to the main event. Jey basically rolls through and then gets hit with a Claymore. Jey kicks out. Drew can't believe it. Drew sets up for another one. Jey counters. He goes for the spear. And Drew kicks out. We're like, oh shit, Drew kicked out. So Jay goes for the splash. Drew moves out of the way, and it looked like he's about to go for another Claymore, but then he kind of ducks and does a future shock. Jay kicks out. So then we're like, all right, what the hell does Drew have to do? So Drew goes for another future shock, but then gets countered by Jey Uso after Drew hits him and gets the 1-2-3 crucifix roll up, and Jey Uso gets a massive win for the Bloodline OG as Drew continues to hunt the Bloodline. Or yeah, since Drew continues to hunt the Bloodline, but Jey Uso, a massive victory for Jey Uso, a humongous win for Jey Uso. Basically continuing his winning streak from last year. Yeah, I generally had Drew winning this, but then thinking about it now, when they bought out Travis, I'm like, oh, they might have this man Jay win. This man got Travis on the side.
Oh, yeah.
This dude probably gonna win.
That's what I was saying though. I feel like
Dude.
that, you know, as soon as the title was turning, I'm like, you gotta let Jay win in some way, shape, or form. Because every time he has stepped to McIntyre, McIntyre has always beaten him at every turn.
One step
But
ahead.
this time it has to be different.
Yeah.
Jay has to win, and technically Jay did win by roll up.
Yeah, Jay won.
Protected Drew McIntyre in a way.
Yeah, no, it protected Drew, so Drew didn't look weak in any way. Like, if Drew would have lost clean, different conversation. But no, he won. Yeah. He lost via roll up. Drew will be just fine. I don't expect anything to happen bad.
And we definitely gotta talk about this because, you know, I feel like that this has been not a little. It's not a big issue, but it is. It could if it's not dealt with lately. And here's what I think. You know, regarding rivalries, feuding, you know, having many matches, and then at the end of it, not delivering, or could have been better than we anticipated. Like, you know, Jay and Drew have had numerous matches over the past year or two, and then, you know, since technically this could be the final match, or this could set up to one more match between Jay and Drew, and I think that if this next match, or if they do another match, should be the final one for the moment, and they should do like a stipulation.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that concern. But then WWE showed me the right way, because they did Sammy and Drew at Saturday Night's Main Event, but Sammy and Drew haven't fought in months. So it's so weird. It's like, okay, Jay and Drew are going to continue their little program because Drew's trying to go through the whole bloodline to get to Roman. Basically is what it is. He's like a hunter. He's like, he wants to get to Roman and get redemption. And also Kevin Owens, apparently the same thing. But anyway, so that happens. Drew loses this one. We'll see if Drew, because I'm assuming Drew's about to have the biggest crash out in history and just destroy everything, because that's who Drew is. And probably going to kick Jay in the face, most likely. So we'll probably do another match after that. But then they did the same thing with Sammy, and they did the same thing with Priest and Dom, and then they finally stopped that. That hasn't happened in a while. So it's like they're learning their lessons with that, but then they're still not quite there. Like, they're there, but they're not quite there. So I get what you mean. So like, they stopped the Damian Priest and Dom thing so he could fight someone else. They also had the same thing with JD and Damian, but they stopped doing that. And then they did Damian and Finn, but the way they split up Damian and Finn. And Carlito. Carlito had a few matches. They also stopped that as well. So they've been stopping it and then restarting it, like how they did Sami and Drew. Perfect way for Drew to come back. Have him fight Sami Zayn. Perfect fight. And then they go into Jay, because again, Jay hasn't finished business. Jay got attacked. Fair enough. There's a fair thing. But if this keeps going, then they're making another mistake. So I kind of get where you're coming from. It's like they're doing the right thing, but then for certain ones, it's not the right thing. It's so inconsistent.
And not to say it isn't the right thing, you know, for the first part, but the second part is that you can't have the same match over and over again, and then it, you know, ends in, you know, the same thing, a regular normal match, and that's it.
Right. That's why it was so like
many matches of them going one.
Yeah, it was literally like, it's weirdly inconsistent.
Which I think that they've learned their lesson with Damian and Finn.
No,
which is
no.
why it's ending next week. Let's talk about
I
that
mean,
a little
Street
more.
Fight. I mean, Street.
Yes.
To talk about some of the matches next
Yes,
week.
Street Fight.
Street Fight. Finn Balor, Damian Priest. Damian Priest was recently called
To
Street
end their
Trash by
feud.
Gunther.
Yep.
Now we're gonna
Yep.
see Damian Priest from the streets against Finn Balor. Other match, Women's Intercontinental Championship final. I thought that was happening this week. It's happening next week. Lyra Valkyria versus Dakota Kai, which has been a really fun tournament. Now we just see who's the first Women's Intercontinental Championship in the mid-card division. Obviously, if you all know, Chelsea Green won the US one against Michin in the finals at Saturday night's main event. So, just want to preview a quick little thing, what's going on next week.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Penta, like I said, Penta versus Jack Gable, even though it shows mystery, probably going to be Penta. And there'll probably be some other matches that get confirmed. But that's kind of what the matches are happening for Raw next week.
Yeah.
Good looking Raw next week.
Yeah.
But to finish up on that point, I get what you mean. It's such a weird inconsistencies with long rival matches
Yes.
and then no payoff. Because one good thing, even though I was very indifferent on the payoff, Andrade and Mello is a great example of this. Best of 7. Even though at first it wasn't a best of 7, it was like a best of 3. But then it turned to a best of 7. They went 7 matches, but the payoff to it, I was pretty indifferent on it. I was like, I was a little indifferent on it.
It was turned to best of 3, then to best of 5, and then best of 7.
Best of 7, game 7. And I was super happy that they did it, and then they included LA Knight at the ref, and I'm like, okay, as long as he doesn't do anything crazy, I think we'll be okay.
Eventually,
And then the match was inconclusive, and I'm like, oh fuck, damn it.
Yeah.
So then they had to run it back at some point. They had to run it back again to truly find out who won game 7, because the match was inclusive, so we never really got an answer on who won game 7. It was a tie. So we need that, and luckily they haven't done it in a while. They've kind of taken a breather. I'm like, all right, they won 7 matches. Won't do it anymore. So yeah, you're so right. It's like I didn't even think about that. Like it's so.
Now I do think that's because there's not really enough talent in WWE as much as there was many years ago. But I think now there's definitely going to be growth in talent in the next coming years.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of people coming to the pipeline that the whole rematch thing, it's obviously going to happen for good reasons. Obviously, it's always good to have a rematch, of course, especially for like the Braun Breaker Intercontinental title matches. I'm cool with rematches because there's some fun matches you can do. Like, I kind of want him and Sheamus to run it back kind of thing. Like, there's some rematches I want. There's some rematches I want that I'm like, yeah, give me more rematches. But then there's some that I'm like, chill out with the rematches. Finish it up and chill out with the rematches. So I do agree with the point. That's probably, I wouldn't say one of the biggest problems I have, but it's one of the few little problems that I hope gets fixed in later years with more talent, so it doesn't get repetitive. Because they did the same thing with Priest, but luckily they were like, all right, we need to chill out with Priest. Let's do something else. And it worked out for Priest, so now everybody's really excited for the focus between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Like, this is the ultimate match, finally. Like, they're going to get spotlight, finally. They got overshadowed at Bad Blood. Now they actually have their own brand to show off this final encounter. This must end, as Priest has said in his interview. It must end. Yeah, no, I agree. It must end. So Street Fight is a perfect way to end this feud. That's a perfect way of wrapping up this feud in a bow. And then we have Priest do something else, something hopefully cooler. We have the Terror Twins do something else. So, yeah, but I do agree, it is very, very inconsistent with that kind of stuff. But again, like I said, it's still a growing company. It's still very young. And the Triple H era, he's got a lot to learn. So I'm not going to bash him too much for it. Now, if it continues through the rest of the years, then I'll have to say something. But for now,
I mean,
he's only about, about 2 years in right now? Yeah, it's only 2 years in. Like, that's still young.
This is not,
it's a young company.
This is not about, bashing what they try to, what WWE's trying to do with, building up rivalries and putting up matches. No. But I do think that they just need to have a game plan to finish it. And not continue it if there's no other, future plans.
If there's not, yeah.
And if it continues, then it's just gonna be boring, and eventually no one's gonna want to watch the feud or be interested in the feud anymore if it still continues and there's no decisive ending.
But there's also another fix that they could do. Maybe try
Yeah.
a tag match or two. Try to
Yes.
switch it up. Maybe
That
have
too.
Sammy team up with Jay and Drew gets a partner. You ever thought of
Yes.
that? What
Yes, that could work too.
what about Sammy and
they used to
Drew?
do that, and they used to do that, and I think they need to bring that back.
They
too.
need to kind of do that a little bit more. Or hell,
Yes.
what about a 6-man tag? What about Jimmy, Jay, Sammy versus Drew and whatever partners he could find?
Yeah.
That's something you can do. But for some reason they only go singles, which is such a weird thing. Now, don't get me wrong, they did do the Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay against Solo on Friday,
Yeah.
which was kind of the first ever encounter, which was crazy. That was
but it
fun.
made sense to do that.
It made sense. So if we could continue that with Drew and Jay and just try to switch it up as much as we can, then people won't be like, oh, this is getting tired and repetitive. We won't say that. We'll be like, oh, it's getting tired and repetitive. But try to be different. Try to switch it up.
Yeah.
If you're going to give us Jay and Drew for a little bit more, try to be different. Give us tag matches. Give us 6-man tags. Give us no DQs, false count errors, something. Give us something a little different. And we're like, okay, we can get behind this. We could do something with this. Because whenever they do these kind of, big stipulation matches, they make it a big deal. I mean, the street fight next week is a big deal. This is ending
Oh, yeah.
a long story with the Judgment Day. After this, the Terror Twins are done with the Judgment Day. We're out of that story. Judgment Day are going to move on.
Yeah.
Terror Twins are going to move on. And we're moving on
And
to
they
different
should
things.
be.
Yeah,
And they should
generally.
be.
That's why. Like, it needed to be at least a year long, and then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
We out.
either a few months or a year long, depending if the story is good or it's been generating a lot of, heat and fan love. Then yeah, but if it's not, if fans get tired after a while, then it's just gonna, be dissipated. I think that's the right word. Hopefully it is.
And luckily the Judgment Day
gonna
feud.
dry out.
Yeah, and luckily the Judgment Day feud. Luckily, it's not gotten to that point. It's slowly getting there, but it's not. It's not as bad. It's not as bad as other feuds that take way too long.
That's thanks to the women. I think that the women have carried the Judgment Day feud very.
Unfortunately,
very well.
I thought it was gonna be a mix of two. But again, can I blame
Yeah.
Finn Balor and Damian Priest? No. All I can say
No.
is they got overshadowed and they got put in a bad spot of the pay-per-view. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
It just didn't work, unfortunately. And I know Finn and Priest can have great chemistry. I saw it in NXT. They fought for the North American title. I know they have great chemistry. But it's just they haven't been able to show that because they keep getting overshadowed by the world title or the other title or Liv and Rhea. So now that Liv and Rhea are done, and we can focus on these two. The leader basically being the now betraying Priest, which should have been a way bigger story. We can finally focus on that and finish it. So Priest can move on and Finn can move on. Put it to rest, have Finn move on.
Yeah.
And whatever the hell they're going to do with them, and then have Rhea get other contenders, and we'll just kind of go from there. Because it's gone on long enough. So it's time to wrap it up.
So let it go.
Wrap it up. So, yeah, happy that match is wrapping up next week. I'm glad they gave them time, so it's not back to back to back to back, and it feels repetitive. They gave it a little time to rest. But yeah, so that's kind of the card next week. And, we'll see what other matches get announced. I'm assuming Bayley's probably going to be there because I know she was talking to Adam Pearce and it's San Jose. So expect Bayley to debut on Raw once again. So another addition to the women's roster. But, yeah, so I don't know about us ranting about that whole thing. Let's get to some good. Let's get to the main event. Match of the making. Match decades in the making. A match that I would have never thought would ever happen because of the situation of these two. CM Punk, the Second City Saint, versus the Revolutionary, the Visionary, Seth frickin' Rollins. Where the hell do I even begin? Well, start at the beginning. Late 2023, Survivor Series War Games. Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and other partners with Randy Orton took on the Judgment Day. The return of Randy Orton. Really cool return. I was very happy about that. But then, as Punk's shirt says, hell froze over. as the night was ending up, all you hear is CM Punk's music. And we all lose our mind. After everything that happened in the past, and that'll be a different conversation for a different day. No way he goes back to WWE. What did he do? He went back to WWE. Triple H had an hour phone call with him deciding, pitching, you want to come to WWE? They squashed the beef. Literally in an hour phone call. See how easy that is? Just one phone call, squash the beef. Done. Finito. It's over. Now I'm coming back to WWE to help. And what did CM Punk do? He went back to WWE and helped the whole roster. Be a mentor. Be a veteran, as he should be. Taking advice. Showing advice. Helping Shawn Michaels in NXT. It was great. But then Drew McIntyre ruined that. Drew McIntyre hits an accidental future shock, lands on CM Punk's orbital bone and his shoulder. He needs surgery. He's going to be out for 6 months. Damn it. So, we lose Punk. But we don't actually, because Punk went on the road with WWE during WrestleMania and was commentating during the Seth Rollins vs. Drew McIntyre match. And Drew McIntyre won the world title. Also, we thought Drew got a little over himself, decided to taunt, and backfired. Punk got out of his chair, whipped Drew on the announce table, beat him up with a microphone and a cast, and then Damian Priest cashed in. While Punk sit there like he did on the pipe bomb, kind of sit down, watching Drew lose the world title, and basically evil laugh being like, yes, I approve of this. Generally, was so surprised. Then, months go down the line. We hear rumors that Punk is almost 100% ready to go. We're like, oh my god, this match could happen at SummerSlam. There's a chance. What happens at Clash at the Castle? Punk costs Drew McIntyre the world title again! In front of his peoples! In front of Scotland! That's just some hater type shit. Oh my god. D1 level hater right there. Crazy. He screws over Drew McIntyre once again. So Drew has basically had enough. So him and Punk go back and forth for the next month and a half or two going into SummerSlam. And it looks like Punk's going to be ready to go. So the match gets confirmed. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. And it was all about that bracelet that has his family members on. Drew's been sadistically messing with Punk with that bracelet.
Yep.
It's been insane. And then the match happens. And for some reason, and I don't know how, Seth Rollins grabbed the bracelet after Punk got it out of his hands and Drew took it off his hands. The bracelet goes flying, and for some reason, CM Punk, as he's talking to Seth, has the bracelet. And Punk's like, what are you doing with that bracelet? And Seth Rollins looks down, he's like, I didn't do anything. But he's like, you have the bracelet. Why do you have it? It's like almost like Seth planted the seed.
My bracelet.
Yeah, he's like, he planted the seed and was like, I didn't do anything, because I'm just a referee. And it backfired, because Punk hit a GTS, and that backfired, because Drew hit a Claymore.
He was trying to play innocent.
He planted the seed. So what happens next? Punk hits a GTS on him, because Punk can't keep his temper. It backfires. Claymore, Seth counts to 3. CM Punk loses. Drew wins the first match in the series. Yeah. This is a trilogy, by the way.
Yes.
So then,
and in a way, Seth costed Punk the match.
Basically. So what did Punk do? Well, Punk didn't give up. Punk said, I'm going after Drew McIntyre again. But we're doing something that I haven't done in a long time. Since Maxwell Jacob Friedman, actually.
Ooh, yes.
A strap match at Bash in Berlin. And them boys went to war. They strapped themselves back and forth, the skin just peeling off them as they whip each other with the strap. But Punk hit about 3 GTSs, touched every corner, and got his win back. And now Punk and and Drew were now even, one apiece. But we were waiting. What's going to be the big attraction at Bad Blood, other than Roman Reigns teaming up with Cody Rhodes? Well, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Part 3, Hell in a Cell. That evil, sadistic, vicious structure with these two blood feuds in the cell. And Punk and Drew had the most bloodiest WWE match in a long time. Those boys bled. Blood. So much blood. Drew was gooshing when he got hit with that toolbox. Insane. And guess what? Guess what? Punk won the feud. Punk GTS's Drew and finally gets Drew McIntyre out of his life. For now. So, what happens next for Punk?
The better, trilogy out of that whole series, and possibly one of the greatest feuds of, this modern era, in my opinion.
Everyone voted it best feud of the year, and I absolutely agree with all those people. All those people are absolutely correct, because it was my feud of the year. It really was. There was no other feud that really was touching it. No way. Drew McIntyre and CM Punk was my feud of the year. So what happens next? Well, Punk at first challenged Gunther. But then, in a weird way, almost at a desperate attempt, Seth Rollins comes back out. Because CM Punk teamed up with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline at Survivor Series for War Games. But I must remind you, Seth, they asked you twice to join the team. Sammy did. The honorary Uce. But what happened? You turned it down. So, Heyman had to do some desperate measures and get basically his best friend, CM Punk. And at first, Roman and Punk could not get on the same page. But what happened after? Punk basically heard Heyman, they locked in, and they won War Games. The Bloodline OG and CM Punk stand tall. And obviously, we know what that led for Roman, of course.
Yep.
But where does that lead for Punk? Well, Seth and Punk start brawling almost every week. Every time Seth and Punk are in the same building, a brawl happens. Every time they're backstage, a brawl happens. They can't stand each other. So what does Adam Pearce have to do? He's got to make that match official. So he makes it official for Netflix on January 6th. At Netflix, in the main event, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Match the people have been waiting for years. People have been wanting this match, clamoring for this match. We're finally getting it. And this was Seth's first match in a while. He hasn't wrestled in a minute. So this was his first match in a minute. And this was CM Punk's first Raw match since 2014. That's how long it's been. So big stakes, big spotlight, main event, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. Oh my god, I couldn't even believe it happened in front of my eyes. I was generally, they didn't even like throw hands yet, and just the amount of just tension in the room was crazy. It was insane. And then they threw hands, and threw hands, and threw more hands, and it turned into a fight. It turned into a fight. It was not a match. It turned into a fight. These dudes were fighting everywhere. Near the barricade, near the crowd, fighting near the commentator's table, fighting in the ring. It was pure chaos. But then Seth looked like he started in control. Seth, every time Punk would do a move, Seth would answer right back. Every time Punk tried to get a comeback, Seth would shut it down. And it looked like it was going to be a dominant victory for Seth Rollins. But Seth Rollins made one too many mistakes. He tried to finish it early, and it didn't work. Because he tried to use Punk's GTS. The first time, couldn't get the cover. Punk rolled out of the ring. Couldn't get the cover. So then Rollins does it again and pins Punk and actually Punk kicked out. So we're like, damn, what is it gonna take? So then Seth goes for the last hurrah, the one that would probably finish this match. He goes for the curb stomp. And Punk moves out of the way. Grabs Seth Rollins and hits a GTS. But he's not done. He is not done by any means possible. Because he lands on his shoulders. Rollins does. Lands on Punk's shoulders. Almost struggling out of exhaustion. Lifting Seth Rollins on his shoulders. And hits the go to sleep. And then the count. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk beats Seth Rollins. Clean, I might add. On Netflix. He did it in front of the biggest crowd. He beat Seth Rollins.
Crazy.
And now Punk could kind of slightly sigh of relief a little bit. Saying, I beat Seth Rollins. I did it.
Not only that, but it was clean.
Clean victory.
Expected a roll up or anything, but no, Punk won clean.
They give him that clean victory. That double GTS clean victory type win. Like, god damn. Like, unreal. So, that's the match in a bundle. But what is my actual reaction? Just pure cinema. I don't know what else to really say. Pure cinema.
Yeah.
No, this is the match I've been waiting for. I was waiting for this. It did start off slow. I do agree it did start off a little slow. But I expected it to. I started it as a slow burn. But I
think, to be honest, it was an enjoyable slow.
Yeah, it wasn't like a bad slow where it's like, oh, this match is not taking off. No, it was just more of very, 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 very almost psychological, very slow pace.
Yeah.
But good slow pace. And then it picked up. Once Seth hit the GTS the first time, that's when the match just started going into high gear. And everything started picking up. They started going move for move, finisher for finisher, trying to go back and forth, see who's gonna win this match. And that's why it was a fantastic main event. By the end of the night, it got a "This is awesome" chant and a round of applause, because it did deserve a round of applause. At the end of the night, those two deserve a round of applause and a medal of honor, because my God, they cooked in the main event on Netflix. And all I can say is, I'm grateful I was able to see it live. I'm grateful I was able to see the first encounter live. Because again, like I said before, the two main attraction matches, the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and the CM Punk and the Seth Rollins matches were planned for Mania. But they said no, we'll move it to Netflix. And that's the best decision they could have ever done, because now Punk and Seth did their match. Seth is going to have a really angry promo, talk about how he lost, and that's going to lead to more, and more, and more, and more stuff. But all I can say is I'm very grateful to WWE, to Triple H, to Netflix, for giving us this greatness to start the year. And that was the show. After that, they had a post-press. Punk basically cut a whole promo saying, I'm taking back everything I lost for lost time. He's on a mission. He's not here to basically make friends and just be like the cool dude that walks in and is just like, yeah, I'm CM Punk, I'm just a veteran. Like, no, he's here to win championships. He's here to prove himself. And that ending promo on Seth basically tells it. Yeah. He's ready for more.
He's still CM Punk, and he's coming for what he's lost and what what is rightfully owed to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not only the WWE Championship, that is not only the World Heavyweight title, but that is main eventing WrestleMania.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Even though someone did ask that about Punk, he said, I would be naive not to say I care. But he didn't rule it out. He's like, that's something I want to do. But again, it's not up to me. Which, hey, that's a fair answer. That is a fair answer, Mr. Punk. It's not up to you. But potentially, could happen. It could happen this year, especially if this is the healthy Punk we're gonna get. As long as he stays healthy and nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him being in the main event. I could see him being in the main event, 100%. So it's gonna be an interesting road for Mr. Punk. Next week they already confirmed, I believe, Punk. I believe he's gonna be in attendance. I could be wrong, but we'll probably hear from at least Rollins at least next week after everything. But I'm really excited to see where this goes next. I don't know where it's going. This is the first time where I can't really guarantee where the hell it goes. And I'm just going to let WWE take me on the ride. That's really where I'm at, is I'm going to let WWE take me on the ride.
Let them take you on the wheel.
I'm willing to let them take me on the ride like how The Rock says.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them take me on the ride.
But again, I think that this is probably one of the best Raws in a very, very, very long time.
Oh, yeah. This was history. This was history.
This was history.
What they gave us, what the wrestlers gave us that night, history.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're going to be able to watch Raw on Netflix every Monday, I don't have to turn on a cable to watch Netflix or YouTube TV. I can just hop on Netflix. It's the best thing on the planet. So, I'm going to be doing that a lot on Mondays.
Or, on any, on any network and cable and less commercials.
Yeah, commercials were not as crazy as I thought. Because it's funny, I watched Netflix NXT. And, like I said, the ads were definitely there. But it wasn't as egregious as, other things I've watched. So,
the original.
It's good that they're lowering the ads and giving us more content. I respect that. So, and I'm assuming that's going to be the thing going forward for Raw, which, hey, I'm cool with that. So, but yeah, so what would I rate the first Netflix Raw? Well, WWE is starting off huge in 2025. And Raw, I think, is going to be the cool show going forward. Like, they're like the big A show. They're like the ones that like A. You want to see the big stars, you go to Raw. That's what they're doing over there. And that's the shit that people want to see. So, for that, I'm going to give Raw on Netflix a 10 out of 10. I think it well deserves a 10. If anything, like, the only thing I would say that was just kind of alright was Jay and Drew. Like, it was decent, but it was nothing like crazy. But even that does not lower the score because of CM Punk and Seth Rollins, Tribal Combat, the cool legend moments, and just the way it all played out.
Yeah.
And, just really what WWE did was fantastic. Oh, I know y'all been wanting to talk about this, but I'm not going to go in depth because, again, I'm not a racist, and I'm not a guy that talks about race at all. Thank you, LA, for booing Hulk Hogan. Okay, I said my piece. Bye. That's it. You get nothing else from me. No need to explain. That's all you get from me. You get nothing else.
And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say much neither. I mean, all I'm going to say is that WWE, do not invite him back. Nobody likes him anymore.
There's no point.
And maybe it could be political, but at the end of the day, you chose your bed, Hogan. This is even before politics, even if it is what the reason was for them booing him now. You've been booed before that.
Yeah.
No one likes you anymore. You showed your true colors, and no one cares for you anymore, Hogan. So, good riddance. And I hope WWE does not invite him back again, whether if he's... Because they're supposed to be saying that they want to invite him back as a heel, but it just doesn't matter. Do not invite him back.
I 100% agree. I agree.
Stay away from the drama, WWE, and do not invite him back. Because it's a waste of breath.
Like I said, they did sign a big sponsorship with his beer company, but just want to keep this in mind. That's his beer company. It's not himself. You could still sponsor his beer company. You can, if you want. It's money. I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, you had goddamn Fortnite and other sponsorships on the ring canvas. Which, by the way, it wasn't as annoying as I thought it was gonna be. So good job,
Yeah.
WWE. But if you need to make money, bro, like, fine, sponsors beer. You're gonna pay for it in the end, but money's money. I get it. Money's money.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't. Like I said, if you want to invite them off camera, go ahead. I could care less. But do not put that man on TV. Generally, don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. Like, the only time you get away with that is maybe Saudi. But that's it. If you put him in any other country, any other state, you're gonna have a bad time. You're probably gonna get the same reaction LA gave him. It's just the truth.
Yep.
That was the only legend that basically made me feel really
Babu.
awkward. Made me awkward.
Yeah.
Every other legend that showed
And-
up, hey, I was hyped.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Oh, was good X-Pac, was good Taker, was good Rock, you know?
Yep.
You know, those made me excited. But then when he came out, that's why I didn't react at all. Like, you heard it from my side. I didn't say much.
Nope, you
Actually,
didn't.
I think we were having a different conversation. Actually, I think we were talking about something else at that time. Cause like we just not
Yeah,
want
I
to
think we
address
were.
it.
Yeah.
We were,
no,
we were
don't
just
care.
chatting about something else. Like we were like, you know, let's just talk about something else. We don't gotta address it. We don't gotta address
Yeah.
it. But shout out to LA. Shout out to LA for not accepting it. I appreciate those fans for not appreciating it. Thank God. You guys are very smart. Good. Good man. Good crowd. Good crowd.
Yep.
Yeah, because I know probably people were gonna ask me what's your thoughts on it. There are my little thoughts. You ain't getting nothing else from me. If I hear anything Hogan related, I'm either gonna skip or I'm gonna say one thing and then that's it. You
We
getting
don't
nothing
care.
from me. Getting nothing
That's-
from me.
That's the main thing. We don't care.
We do not care.
That's it.
We do not care. You could bring
He-
back Jake the Snake Roberts, Jerry the King Lawler, Stone Cold. We'll talk about it. Oh, we'll absolutely talk about it. We'll talk about it. We've done it before. But when it comes to anything Hogan related, we don't care. Like
Say
we
less.
generally we do not care. We do not care. And I get there's a lot of older fans here, and I get it. If you think Hogan's your hero, that's okay. If you want to talk about Hogan the wrestler, we could talk about Hogan the wrestler. But
Yeah.
Hogan the person, different conversation. Different conversation indeed. Hogan the person, ooh. Hogan the wrestler, ooh, okay. But Hogan the person, no. 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 Just no. Nothing more. Nothing more. Nothing more. Anyway, to finish up on Netflix on Raw, I thought Netflix on Raw was an absolute success. I think it was a perfect way to start WWE on their new venture, on their new platform, Netflix. It got, like I said, it got number one ranked shows watched. It was number one. It beat Squid Game. That's impressive. It beat Squid
Yeah.
Game, which is a huge franchise that Netflix is trying to build right now. That's massive. It broke records with attendance gate. It broke records with most watch views. It broke a lot. It broke the internet. It broke a lot. But for good reason. Like, it wasn't a bad reason. Like, it was a good like, yeah, I know we went on that tangent on the whole Hogan thing, but that was just, again, that was just WWE making a dumb mistake. I don't know what else to really tell you. But other than that, yeah, no, Raw on Netflix was fantastic. Raw on Netflix was fantastic. NXT was also fantastic. We have Dynamite tonight, and then we have a break on Thursday. But there is
Yes.
also one of my favorite YouTubers, if you guys like Revolver. I know there's a lot of indie guys out there. Brandon Collins is debuting Thursday. So if y'all into the YouTube thing, him versus AJ Francis is now a no DQ match. So Brandon's gonna take some chair shots. So should be a fun match, and I do like AJ Francis, so should be fun. And then Friday, yeah, like I said, Friday Night SmackDown, 3-hour show. Like I said before, Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett are gonna be doing commentary. So a little bit of a fresher voice on SmackDown should be fun. And yeah, all I can say is WWE is starting their year pretty hot. Pretty
Yeah,
hot.
on top.
On
On
top.
top.
On top. As the
Yeah.
wrestling promotion in America. 100%.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see more from Raw. I can't wait to see the women's IC, tournament winner. My money's on Dakota. I hope Dakota wins it.
With
Um,
Dakota.
but
Same here.
I'm excited for Penta. I can't wait to talk about Penta next week. Um, and then also I'm excited to see what Seth has to say. I'm excited to see if whenever we're gonna hear what Punk has to say. I'm excited to see if there's gonna be any more Rumble entries because we're starting to get into that Rumble season. I'm very intrigued to see what happens with Royal Rumble. So that should be fun. I did forget to say this. There is a match already confirmed for the Royal Rumble, a ladder match for both the Winged Eagle and Undisputed Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match to unify the belts. Yeah, that should be a good one.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and then also, I forgot to talk about this because they did show us something about 2K. I should have started with this. Like I said, 2K25, like you saw the animations right now, it's going to be the same thing in 25. Same thing. But they did give us something about 2K25. So I'll run through this real quick. Roman Reigns was in a very, very high quality shot with Paul Heyman talking about his acknowledgement ceremony. And Heyman's like, when do you want to set it up? We want to do it in front of the whole world. Big platform. When do you want to set it up? Roman says one date. January 27th. If you look on the calendar, that's a Monday. So Roman's acknowledgement ceremony is going to be on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we're like, okay, that's cool. But
It could
then
mean a lot of things too.
that could mean a lot of things. That could mean many things. But Roman says January 27th, which, like I said before, this ceremony might be bigger than his 1,000 day reign ceremony. That's how big
Yeah,
this is.
I think it will be.
This is humongous. Paul Heyman's about to set this man up with the most amazing ceremony. It's going to be great. But that's one thing. He walks through a door, and at first it just looks like a door, like a wooden door. But then, as a clear tape, you see the logo WWE 2K25. So what is 2K confirming here? Because if you go on their Twitter, they put up a banner. January 28th is when we're going to hear something about 2K. Probably a trailer. So what does this mean? This means two things for me. Roman Reigns is the cover. Roman Reigns is the cover star for 2K25. What was his last cover? Disgusting 2K20. This was much needed for Roman. That's besides the point. I think it's Roman that's the cover, and they're either going to do two things. They're going to show us the cover at the acknowledgement ceremony with a banner revealing it, or they're going to show us a cinematic trailer of Roman being the cover. And then they're going to say, wait until tomorrow for gameplay trailer. And they're going to kind of do a combined 2-day kind of event kind of thing. I could see that. Because already, actually, even though I can't really show you screenshots or anything, because again, I can't put it on the screen, but hear me out. They did show us screenshots. We saw screenshots of the game for the first time. Now, again, these are just models, no actual gameplay, but we got a chance to see a little bit where 2K is when it comes to updated models. And good news, I can report the updated models are pretty up to date. There's only one screenshot I saw that was out of date. All the tires that I've seen so far is Clash at the Castle. So about July, I want to say. Yeah, July or June. Around that is where they started doing scans. So who did they update? They updated Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Bailey, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. That for what we know. The only outdated one that's not really outdated, but it's not what her attire is now, is Liv Morgan. Now, yes, Liv Morgan got a whole new face skin and a whole new attire. Great. Problem. It's the first attire of the Revenge Tour. It's like almost before the Revenge Tour. It's a little out of date. It happens. I get it. I wish we were past this, but again, it just kind of happens. So we'll see who else didn't quite get the up-to-date gear, but I'm hoping maybe Liv is just the one exception, and then everyone else is up-to-date. Because they got the Terror Twins gear spot on. They got the Cody coat spot on. And they got the Bailey face much better. Bailey looks way better than 2K24, so that's a plus. And her attire is also up-to-date as well. So from the screenshots so far, solid so far. Decent little first launch for 2K as we head into the new game. Because like I said, this year, I'm more open-minded than ever. Because if the game just functions well, there's no issues, or, issues that don't plague the online experience, then this year could be a lot of fun because the rosters is going to be absolutely stacked with people. But again, that's a man can only dream. So we'll see. But I just want to say they did show us something for 2K25 at Netflix. Just wanted to say that. Now that's it. That's everything. That's all the matches. That's everything.
Say, one last thing, regarding 25, that it's it's pretty open-minded. I'm definitely gonna love the new talent that's coming this season. I think that's one of my biggest reasons for why 25 is gonna be interesting this year. But at the same time, as long as the online is functional, no issues. I think.
I agree.
Perfect. And the showcase mode. If they fix the showcase mode so that no more live footage, or so much live footage comes out during the match, then I'm invested, and I will definitely be playing it, going to the new year. But again, I'm gonna try to be open this year, but I'm in no rush to get this game.
Oh, don't even worry about it. I'll probably be the guinea pig test. Just grab it off me. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, we do kind of game share off each other, but we allow each other to get certain things. So like, he bought me the Jake Paul Undisputed update. He bought that for me, so I was able to use Jake Paul and other boxers. But then I've also gotten him DLC. I've gotten him 2K DLC. I bought him. I might get Mafia this year, so you can get Mafia off me. I know you want to get your own GTA, but if you can't get it, you could always get it off me.
Yep, I'll let you know. But that's definitely gonna be the biggest save. I think GTA is
100%. Yeah,
definitely worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because as soon as I save up a little bit and I get like my yearly plus situated and all that. Oh, it's an automatic save towards GTA. Unless if there's some of the Call of Duty packs right now, and maybe Fortnite.
I know they just revealed the VIP for Squid Game today. I know that.
It is a Tracer pack now, so we just have to
it's Tracer pack.
To get it.
Yeah, it's a Tracer pack. So I saw that.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah, and then also, like I said, like the games I'm looking at this year, which by the way, big year for gaming this year. For if you guys are gaming heads, huge year for gaming. 2K25, which they're gonna reveal something on January 28th, so I'm assuming that's when pre-orders go live. My strategy going into it, depending on how many days I get it early, I might upgrade to the big one. But if it's not significant, I'll just stick with standard and go normal. Just go standard and then get the season pass probably in the next month or two, so I can have DLC. That's probably what I'll do. But again, I'll have to see how I feel when they show the covers and what they're offering. You know what I mean? But games that I'm definitely gonna get: Ghost of Yotai, the Ghost of Tsushima sequel. Have to get that.
That I definitely want to get. Also,
I want that.
But hey,
I want that.
If I can't get it, then I'll get it off of you.
Yo, grab that off me. Mafia, Old Country.
That's gonna be interesting.
Bro, prequel to the original Mafia.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I am technically playing Mafia 3 at the moment. Been enjoying the game, I'll say right now.
Good.
Very fun to play, storyline and everything.
Dude, the Mafia, bro, like the
The game.
the Mafia games,
Yeah.
bro. I still say the first one's my favorite because I just love the storytelling they did with Tommy and the rest. I just love that story. But I get why people pick 2. I get why people pick 3. Because it is very, they are very good Mafia games. Like, there's no bad Mafia game. That's one thing I can 100% agree with everybody. There's not a bad Mafia game. That I agree with. But yeah, the Mafia series, very good. Yeah, Mafia is getting a new game. They're getting a prequel to the original Mafia, which makes me freaking excited. We're going back to the old Western 1990s. Like, hell yeah. Um, Potentially Insomniac with maybe Wolverine potentially. That could sneak in. I could see that sneaking in late.
Yeah.
I could see that, or at least telling us something about it.
Yes.
Um, and then there
Because
was
they did say that they want to try to release it this year, either this
they
year or
want to try to
next
get it
year.
out because again, their next big project, maybe other than a
Spider-Man.
spin-off game they have in the works. Other than that, yeah,
Yeah.
Spider-Man, the next
Because
big
I know
Spider-Man.
they did say that they want to do the trilogy for Spider-Man on 2026. That's still
Yeah,
supposed to plan.
yeah, and then there's also potential rumor that they might be working maybe after or maybe a separate title, which might be a Venom game. Which ooh, I'd be game for that.
Interesting.
I'd be game for that. But yeah, so yeah, they basically want to do Wolverine, which has been in the works for a while at this point. Been working very hard on it. Um, then Spider-Man 3, which is what we're all waiting for. We want to see what's next. And then whatever they have planned, if they have a DLC or a spin-off or something in the works that we don't know about yet, probably got something in the works with Marvel. Might be even a different hero, might be a different character. They did Wolverine, they could switch it up and do something different. Who knows? But yeah, so it seems like that's the trajectory. Yeah, we're waiting for a lot of Sony titles to give us something. Like we're
Yeah.
waiting for the God of War team, we're waiting for the Horizon team, we're waiting for
Yeah.
Insomniac, we're waiting for a bunch of other companies to drop. So hopefully this year we get some announcements for those. And then yeah, there's also potentially Indiana Jones. I heard Indiana Jones is coming to PlayStation in April. I
Ooh,
might
that's gonna be
consider that
interesting.
because I heard
That'll get
I
our
heard that
feet.
game was really good on Xbox, so I might have to
Yeah.
cop. We'll see, but I might have to.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, but there's still a bunch of games I'm still missing. But there's so many good games coming out. So even if like 2K25 is just all right, at this point I'm chilling because we got GTA 6, we
Yeah.
got Mafia. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I'm not ruining my year of gaming. It's not gonna ruin me, bro. It's not gonna ruin
Yeah.
me. Cause at least I can say, hey, I got games to look forward to. Cause I do.
Yeah. For
Cause I
sure.
do,
Me
bro.
too.
Like, like 2K could be like the worst thing in the planet, and DLC only be good, and I'd be like, you know what? I got games to worry about. Even though I don't want. By the way, I don't want that for the series. I'm not asking for a downfall. It's not what I'm asking for. I want it to be good. I want it to be solid. I want it to be a great game. Cause the roster is gonna be absolutely loaded this year of talent from just names alone. So I want it to be good. But again, if it's just decent and the servers are
Yeah.
okay and I can use all the characters with no issue, we good. We good, and I can
Yeah.
focus on other games like GTA, Mafia, and others, and have 2K just in the background, like, hey, you want to do a fun
And
match?
and
Boom, we can do a fun
hopefully,
match.
we get to, hopefully talk more about, the future and gaming on a future episode or so to,
If we ever get to that
talk
point where we
more
want to do
about it.
gaming, we could always do that, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot going on with this podcast, but that's
Yeah.
it for us. That's it.
Yes.
This has been a really fun first episode. I can't wait to do episode 2. Coming in the next couple days, I think we're gonna give ourselves until Saturday. We'll do SmackDown. We'll do
Yeah.
Saturday. And any other news that we missed, and then we'll reset for Tuesday for Monday Night Raw. On Netflix. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you very much for joining me for the first episode of the Brian and Manny podcast.
Yes, sir.
It's been fun. We will
Deuces.
we will see you.
Ooses.
We'll see you Saturday. Bye bye, y'all.
Peace.